This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome. Beautiful afternoon here. It's a lovely day. From myself, Rexon, Mopo behind the camera. It's a wonderful, wonderful day. We're right here to quarantine. We're looking at the beautiful, beautiful weather and the animals that are around here. I want to remind everyone on the beginning of our safari, please, you're welcome to send us more question and comment on hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. If you are under age of 19 years, please, you may pop an email, kids question on wildearth.tv. Again, at the beginning of safari, we would like to remind everyone to send us register questions on WildEarth website. Head over the channel page and submit your question there. We will be so much interested to read comments and everything that might be required by all people that wants to know about wildlife. Now we are here at the open clearing called quarantine. We can see the kudu, more impala in the area, warthog, of course, wildebeest and nyala. The all aggregations of species or all collective or all different species in the area, they come together for more eyes. Try to be in the area grazing and helping one another. It looks like all of these different species, they start to move out. It's starting to a little bit breezy here. It's a very hot day. You can see wildebeest is underneath the trees together with the impala. That shows the day it's so hot. And it's really amazing how all get together suddenly, knowing that they have to help one another. That means animal can communicate with their language. An animal can trust certain areas that might be, of course, in the area like an open clearing, thicket. They can trust to be in open that is more safe for them. Nothing can come close by. We are aware that impala, wildebeest, zebra, warthog, they can be simply get hunted. Let us look at the weather from the different location.
Good afternoon and welcome to Eco Training Pridelands, and a Merry Christmas to those viewers who has just joined us this afternoon. At the moment we're watching a savanna elephant busy feeding, and it's quite interesting to watch him going actually from one tree to the next marula tree. He's actually looking for fruits as he is going to the different trees. Every now and then he also takes quite a large amount of leaves and then starts kicking the soil and pulling out some of the grasses. You'll actually notice that he will actually hit that against his legs to get rid of the excess sand, so that it doesn't damage the teeth eventually when it does feed on that grass and roots that come up. Let's see what he gets up to. In the meanwhile, my name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got Owen. Let's see what our elephant is using his trunk now to pull some of the branches down, something that actually gives him a little bit of an advantage over others. Herbivores that can reach much higher, with the exception obviously of giraffe, which can feed much higher than that they can, as giraffe can stand at some 5.8 meters in height. Guys, imagine we can get up to some 4.2 meters at shoulder height. One of the things that I do find tickets as well is that they never stop growing, so they continuously grow throughout their life. For one thing that does limit them, as mentioned earlier, when they were cleaning the teeth, hitting the sand against the legs to get rid of the excess sand when the grasses, so that it doesn't damage their teeth, as that the teeth is their limiting factor. And eventually, if they do reach an age of approximately 65, and they're on their last six molars, then they can't feed successfully any longer. First-time viewers that wonder how much an elephant can actually eat, this guy can potentially eat up to some 300 kilograms of food in a single day, of which only 40% will be absorbed and the rest will be deposited as dung. And meanwhile, let's go and see what Tess is up to.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is very, very hot this afternoon, and Darren and I was just appreciating the view a little bit in this heat. We're doing a bit of shade hopping this afternoon before we arrive at the dams. My name is Tessa. I'm going to be your guide here this afternoon. Behind the camera is Darren. And we are really, really hoping for a Christmas miracle this afternoon. We've come all the way to the west. We are enjoying the very good weather. And what we're hoping for is some wild dog tracks. So there have been some reports of wild dogs around the area, not on Djuma, but on surrounding properties in the western side. And so I figured, why not? Let's come out here. We've got some time this afternoon, and let's see if we can find any tracks of wild dogs. We're also going to be going around to some of the dams. We're going to be checking to see if there's any elephants coming down or anything like that. And possibly even checking on Ribbon and her cubs a little bit later. So we've got some pretty big plans for the afternoon. As is, we're listening to some very, very beautiful bird calls. It sounds like a wren warbler. And we have also been noticing that this afternoon, the breeze is very much saving us from the heat, and so it's going to be doing the exact same thing for the animals. Enki, yes, I think wild dogs would be an absolute treat. We haven't seen them for quite a while, and if any of you know me, you know that wild dogs are very, very high up on my list, and on Darren's as well, actually. So we're hoping with the good juju that we're giving off here with wild dog love that we might find something. I think a lot of the animals this afternoon are going to be sticking to the shade. It is, well, to put it in perspective, I think Darren and I have each already got 3 layers of sunscreen on. And we're still going to be sticking to the shade as much as we can. But that's exactly why we wanted to go around and check all the different water holes, because as you're going on a hot day like today, the animals are going to be using the shade, the breeze, the drainage lines and the dams. So I think it's a pretty good place to have a look. We've already done kind of a little piece of the northwestern sector of Djuma, and now we're actually cutting back southwest and up towards the dam. So we're doing a bit of a diamond shape this afternoon. We're changing it up a bit, and we want to see what the afternoon has in store for us. I have noticed there are quite a few bright orange flowers around in the grass called a lion's eye. And it's probably one of the prettiest flowers. Oh, there's one in the road too. One of the prettiest flowers to have a look at on a day like today. On overcast days, they actually close themselves up almost altogether. But on a day like today, they're facing the sun and they actually follow the sun a little bit. And that's the most open that you will see a lion's eye. It is completely flat from the top. You could press it against a surface and it would not bend. And that's because it is really just appreciating the sun. The reason it's called a lion's eye is because with the 5 petals, it's nice and round and symmetrical. And the color represents the honey the honey orange that you would find in a lion's eye in the sun. Very, very pretty. I was asked the other day if they have any traditional or medicinal uses, and it seems like they do not. But they are beautiful to look at. And thank you so much for your comment all the way from Belgium. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you, and we're very happy that we get to share this with you on such a special day. I think we have a lot of very good things in store this afternoon. I think it's actually a little bit too hot at the moment even for a lot of birds to be calling, but hopefully when we get to the dam just now, there will be a few more birds calling. So unusually, this lion's eyes on its own, normally they are in clusters. So normally you'd see a bright orange patch together. But I will try my best to find you some other pretty flowers this afternoon just to brighten up the greenery a little bit too.
Welcome back from Tessa, and we are live here, Juma WildEarth Safari Live, heading east. This afternoon I will be really trying to take it easy and get in the area where I might find a leopard. Of course, I know that the lions are far from the conservancy. The only species that we might get to see here is when we really track for leopard. So I will be so much quiet, silence, and enjoy the scenery of the area while I'm observing tracks and other information from the ground.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. We're still with our elephant bull, watching him while he's busy feeding. For those of you that might not or just join the show, we actually mentioned that he can eat up to 300 kilograms of food in a single day. In some areas, they're actually known to take over 140 to 150 different plant species. And they'll feed them both on bark, leaves, and grass. And at this time of the year, they tend to focus more often on grasses, as the grasses has got a higher quality in terms of feeding. Where in the winter months, they tend to focus less often on grasses and more often on browsing on the trees. A few interesting things by just simply watching elephants, you can what they're doing. One of the things that you'll see is it often flicks for grasses to get rid of the sand. So a lot of the things that I've actually learned over the years about animal behavior is actually in my free time when not guiding. And as I had the opportunity quite often to just go and sit on my own with a game vehicle, a good animal behavior book. I would go and read as much as I can and see if I could notice those behaviors. And that's how you actually learn to interpret animal behavior, by simply watching them. But one of the things that I also do find quite fascinating is that there is no such thing as typical animal behavior. Animals do what they ever want to do at times, and I'm always surprised about something else or something new that I see in terms of behavior that's never been documented or recorded in any books. Let's keep on watching him while he's eating. Good afternoon, Benjamin, and happy Christmas to you. And when it does come to elephants and when they come to choosing things, they can't really be picky because they're such large animals and they have to eat so much, they just have to eat whatever comes their way. So also what we do find is that's one of the reasons why they can't be territorial, and that's why they also wander large areas, because they need to go and actually find different types of resources in different areas, and they know precisely where to go and find those things. Sometimes they need certain nutrients and minerals in their diet, and they'll go to specific places where they can go and feed on soil. And this time of the year, the elephants love coming into this area, especially now that the marulas are fruiting, which is also going to be one of their favorite meals very soon. Well, we're going to stick around a little bit longer with our elephant and watch him. It's such a magnificent sighting. Let's go and see what Tess is up to.
Always wonderful to be able to start the afternoon with a big elephant, and that is what I'm hoping for, is elephants at the dam. But I'm actually looking for baby elephants in particular. I want to see some little calves. There is nothing like an elephant herd with little calves approaching the water. So much fun and games. So I'm bumbling. I'm now headed southwest, so I've changed my direction. And we are hoping that as we come around, there's a few little ponds along the way, little mud wallows, and we're going to turn back north and east and head up towards Treehouse Dam, and you never know what we will find. So far, I have not seen any wild dog tracks, but it's still early. It's still early. We have seen those leopard tracks from this morning with a male and female leopard where they went all the way up through Juma. But no fresh tracks. No fresh ones. There is a nice herd of impalas up ahead and they are looking very relaxed, so I'm sure that there are no wild dogs right here that they know of. Michelle, we definitely enjoy watching elephants and calves as well. It's always a lot of fun. You know, that's one of the things with elephants. They don't do anything in a halfway. They do everything with all of them. So this is the herd of impalas I was talking about. Quite a nice sized nursery for the amount of females. It looks like most of them have a lamb. And looking quite relaxed. I'm quite surprised that they're so open in the sun like that. Although it was behind the clouds for 5 minutes and now it's come back out again. So they're actually headed in the direction of the dam. I'm sure they will actually pop up there a little bit later as well. But nice to see them looking almost relaxed. The one gave the others a fright there. So there is a male with this herd. He's off to the side on his own, and I'm sure that he is starting to get a lot more nervous than the females are at this stage. The rut is just starting to take effect. The real rut happens in May. But from now, he will have a lot of competitors that are trying to stay close to his herd, and they'll be fighting amongst themselves, trying to figure out who's the most dominant and who gets to take over his harem. So he's actually done incredibly well for an impala. It's actually not that easy to get your own harem. You can imagine with the amount of lambs born every year, to become the male that has his own harem is actually quite difficult because there are so many males competing and you have to beat all of them to find a harem. With every harem you'll find a whole bachelor herd that's been kicked out over the last 2, 3, 4 years, and they're trying to get back into other harems. So he's actually had quite a tough life. I'm sure many an impala has lost its life trying to rut. Trowel, no. Female impalas won't fight. It's one of those things where the only time that you might see a female impala acting anything other than placid is possibly if her lamb is in danger. But they don't need to fight. There's so many of them and they're all protected by having numbers, and so they won't need to fight. Even if a female gets lost from a harem or a herd and she finds another herd, she'll stick with them. She'll even stick with other species just to stay safe. So it's only really the males that fight because they're the ones that need to have the competition sorted out to be in charge of such a big herd of females. So I've certainly never seen female impalas fighting. They do have very sharp hooves though, so it's... Oh, they got a fright. I wonder what caused that. So it's not like they can't defend themselves, but the only time you see them fighting is if they're directly under threat, and they won't be fighting with each other. They're usually then fighting for their lives. But I'm going to carry on to the dam and leave these impalas. They look a little bit jumpy now, maybe because the wind picked up. Let's head back over to Rexon on a bumble.
Welcome back from Tessa Live with the breeding herd of Impala, the McDonald's of the bush. We are here trying to check Nyala South, no, and Nyala South, Nyala North. Not yet a joy. For a change today, honestly speaking, I feel like I can get something different. I'm not really sure what might be, but I cannot say elephant. I cannot say impala or kudu or giraffe. I'll never get tired seeing leopard, of course. I can see lions, I can see very rare species. I will feel more comfortable as I speak. The guys, I haven't organized this, but here's an elephant on the way. As I said, I don't want to see them. They come to my way. Is how it works out in nature. If you die to see leopards, you don't find it. If you want to see lions, you don't find it. So sometimes what you do, you just feel like you don't want to see it. Nothing. Here we are, breeding herd of Loxosxanto africana. They're just grazing at the moment. You can see the quality of grass that they're really collecting. Time and again, guys, it's very different from one area to another. It is very different when it comes to elephant. Interpretation of elephant, it might be slightly different. You know that an elephant that you may find from us, where it's very hot and there's no healthy grass as we in the area, you cannot see much going for grass. Maybe you might prefer certain plants or certain trees in the area. If once it's a grass, they will enjoy. But elephants here, honestly speaking, they really prefer much more grass. You see, elephant above 4 tons, elephant collect more of grass around in the area in a quality of at least around from 150 up to 300. It's very practical. It depends how big it is. Yes, in most cases, you may find that under that age or heaviness of 4 tons, way down to 1 ton. Commonly, they will collect from 100 up to 150 in a day. If the huge one, like a big mouth, they go above that easily. In this area where we are, it's not all the area that you might find them doing that. Remember, we are in savanna woodlands and grassland in the area, which is very, very healthy grass around. That's the reason in the area you find an elephant here, they will never get hunted by a pride of lions. You go in other part of country in Africa, you find that elephant will be hunted by lions. So here there's no chance, because these species, they are so much healthy, eating quite a lot of high quality of grass, so they make their body a lot more stronger, and they have very weak digestion system. What is more interesting about them, but really you find them so fresh and so lookable. I prefer to see these elephants around in the area, because of course the reason why they're so much relaxed also just because the more it's food, the more they relax. In other part, of course, because less food, they become more aggressive. So you must always know that wherever there's a lot of food, animals tend to relax, because they don't see a human being interfering on their life. But once they're hungry, they'll see human being as the biggest predators in nature. So they'll go for you. I've learned this over many years. I've been in different areas of the park in the area. I've been in the north, I've been in Kruger, I've been everywhere, I've been in East Africa, I've been in lots of places around in the area. The collective knowledge, it's so high because I've been in different areas. I'm not meaning being in an area you don't have knowledge, but observing, not reading from the tests is very, very important, because you tend to see know better than whatever is in the basic information. Oh, lovely female. You see, she's so calm and so relaxed. These elephants here in service, and honest speaking, they will come so close to them, even if you're on foot. Yes, if you give them chance, respect them, listen. That is a sound that comes from elephant. They really communicate with this sound, travel such far distances. What we we'll be linking back one of the location that we have in the area. We'll be staying with the elephant and observe a little bit more. Come, girl, come. I want to see you. Come, darling.
I can smell some elephants. It sounds really weird to say out loud, but I can smell elephants. There's some dung in the road there. It's quite a strong smell on a hot day. And it's making me excited to see if we find any fresh elephant dung. And hopefully elephants at the dam. But I'm actually driving through one of the thicker sections. It's not a road that I do an awful lot, I must be honest. But it is one of the more beautiful roads because it's different greenery. There's some mahogany trees, a lot of very tall bush willows, and a lot of very dead knobthorn trees. So it's one of those roads that's just visually very different and very pretty. Doing a little bit of a zigzag at the moment through the map, just covering a bit of distance close to the boundary so that I can make sure I haven't missed anything, or at least try and make sure I haven't missed anything. And so far, only hyena tracks in the road. It does look like we have another storm building, so I'm wondering if we're going to get wet again later. We definitely got a bit of a shower this morning. I'm sure the elephants would love it if it rained. They really enjoy being able to kind of rinse and cool their bodies without having to get into a dam. It means they can feed and walk around and just be happy in the rain without having to worry about the heat. It's actually really pleasant to be out in the rain. And it cools everything down and all the animals come out after the rain. Most of them hide during the rain, depending on how hard it is. But it's definitely one of those things where you almost get excited when you feel a storm coming.
Welcome back. We're still with the herd of elephant that left us slowly heading towards the north. I'm very much interested because they're walking along the riverbed, the area where there are very well-known elephant digging water in the middle stream of this dry riverbed. We might position ourselves and check the area where they might be heading. If they keep continuously heading more north, it will mean that we'll keep heading more towards the east. Later on, we may try to check Befesuk Dam because the only water source that we have in the area is around Befesuk Dam. It's in the nature of an elephant due to how huge is the species, how big it is, and also the color. And we know that the water mobile species, they have to go down to the water. It seems like overcasting and bare, but still very hot in the area. That burns a lot of energy in the body system. And of course, this animal, the body system is get very warm or hot. They have to go down towards the water. That tells me that she went down, and now she's turning around, heading towards Befesuk Dam. So the only time that we might get to see them and enjoy them, if we head towards Befesuk Dam, we might get to see them in big numbers. It's common to find them going towards the waterholes. Lovely, very good comment from Jane. Jane, you're very encouraging myself to stay with this elephant as you guys enjoying. But they are disappearing slowly, yet more to the north in the thicket. Of course, it might take days, hours, but because the grass is very healthy at the moment, the grass hold a lot of moisture. Eating with this healthy grass, it might slow them in the course of a day to go towards waterhole. But we believe now, I can see these are moving with fast pace. That might be going towards the dam itself. So we might be lucky. Hot day like today, you might get to see leopard at the same time going down and drink water. That area is where, or Befesuk area, it's where we finally have the lumber and the calves. It's a lot of water around in the area. Of course, just after kill, I don't think she might travel that far distances. She's trying to keep the calves away from all dangers, in the form of danger. And the elephant, they're heading slowly that direction. Let's carry on. Maybe we might meet them around the corner, going down towards Befesuk Dam. You want to know if elephant bulls do play a role from the youngster, if I read it correctly. Time and again, Victor, you find the bulls, they don't stay permanent with the female. They will move wild in the area, going in their own direction. They're home range species. But to answer your question direct, the females are the one that really play a big role to protect the youngster, or parental care of the youngster. What happens in most cases, if a bull come across the herd, if anything might happen, it's a huge bonus, because the elephant in nature, whether male or female, they're very much protective from one another. So then a male will interact if a lion try to bring down one of the calf. The dominant bulls will not be happy about that. They will immediately get in. But because of they're not always with the herd, you cannot see this kind of behavior. It's only if they come across and that happen. And the chances is very slim to see bull all the time with the breeding herd. Only if the breeding herd, one of the female, she's on mass, then you can get to see that the bull will stay with that particular herd for benefit of mating. After mating, the bull would go its own way, away from the breeding herd. But around this area, pretty much you see females staying with the female. We have seen an interaction about 4 or 5 days back, if I'm not being mistaken, where Tandy, she was walking and suddenly she gets in between the breeding herd of elephant, and Tandy, she was always oppositing the wind. She moved once at a stage into an open space where the elephant was close by. They have responded in a manner that you can see that the high protection of the youngster is very high. It was very, very beautiful to watch that and more experience that we learned from that day. Suddenly I've seen one of the youngsters running from the distance of 40 meters away and get in between the females, and all the trumpeting, and suddenly all of them, they get together. You find within 5 to 6 seconds the youngster was surrounded by the females. So how actually it works, I'm trying to of course make you understand how it works in the area when it comes to elephant and the youngster. I hope this afternoon we'll see more elephants due to the weather, but as I speak, I can see the cloud are flittering on the sun itself. It's starting to get cooler, and you can see that shade of the cloud, which means the clouds are building up. We'll be linking back to Tessa. She have made her way towards the waterhole. Let's see what she have there.
So I've definitely got quite a beautiful view of the storm rolling in, but I've also got a really lovely long distance view of a herd of elephants. This has already made my day. We got here just at the right time, and it looks like this herd is approaching slowly. They're taking their time, but when they do decide to officially come to the waterhole, which I'm very patiently sitting next to, then I'm sure it will come in a flurry. You'll just see elephants everywhere. So I haven't been able to work out how big the herd is yet. I do think that there is an elephant bull with them or behind them that is in must. Behind them that is in must, because I can smell him. Very, very spicy smell, and the wind is blowing towards us, so there might be an elephant bull with them that is in must. So if you actually listen carefully, you should be able to hear them feeding. They are fairly quiet when they feed. Yeah, but one of them is very, very keen to break branches, and so every now and then we're hearing that. Oh, I can see a tiny little calf coming down to the dam. They're going to pop out in the gap, and I'm really hoping they come around this side, otherwise I'll quickly have to move, because we do have some brush in front of us. Yeah, it looks like they're actually coming around to our side. Oh, Oh, yes, here they come. Oh, that has made my afternoon. So she's just checking to see who we are and why we're here. We're an unusual shape next to the dam. Not that she's not used to us, but we're not a fixed feature at the dam. So as the rest of the herd comes down, I'm sure that these ones will actually start moving around. And we'll see them coming through and past the dam. Yes, the rest of the herd is starting to come down. You'll see them in the background, getting closer. Always beautiful. Oh, this is a big herd. There's at least 20 elephants here, if not 30. Oh, look at that swagger, the one at the back. When they walk in towards water, it's as though everything is right in the world with them. Once they've decided, it's a mad rush, the flurry I was talking about. Two little calves. Right, they are starting to move this way. Oh, and here comes a tiny calf with this mum. Wow, she is beautiful. So the herd is going to spread out around the dam to drink. And they'll all drink in different areas, so they're going to split up and drink wherever there is space. Oh, I can hear thunder. There are some very small calves with this herd. Would you like me to move, Darren?
Yeah, we can.
Alright, we're going to give it a bash. Let's try moving. Little bit bumpy, but that's alright. Okay, now we've got a view of them from the side, and one of them is swimming. I've got to hold my hat down, everybody. The spring is bouncing. Oh, wow. So we're definitely going to be spending more time here to watch this elephant herd enjoying themselves at the dam.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. At the moment we're looking at one of the sedges which is quite commonly found in this area and right through southern Africa. This little sedge plant used to be used quite often by traditional hunter-gatherers, San people, that's been in southern Africa for almost 40,000 years ago. They're also known for their rock art that they've left throughout southern Africa. And what they would do is they would actually pull out these plants, use the roots, and they would use that to actually clean out ostrich eggs. They also would then, after cleaning out the ostrich egg, fill it up with water. And it's said that these sedges would actually leave the water to taste actually much better, as well as make it last much longer. And these ostrich eggs will then be actually plugged up with pieces of these little sedges as well, to make sure that the water doesn't evaporate and nothing gets inside that ostrich egg shell. Just to give you a rough idea, the size of an ostrich egg can accommodate approximately 24 chicken eggs. So it's quite a fair amount of water that you can actually store in an egg like that. And those eggs would normally be buried underneath the soil where they can remain cool. One of the other plants right we have over here, this is known as a wild basil. It also used to be known as a Bushmansbuchu, which is one of the other names which has actually fallen out of use, which describes the San hunters. And they would actually dry this plant and then turn it into a perfume. It can also be used for cooking. One of the other things that I did notice over here on this wild basil is actually a large amount of sugar ants. And they're particularly interesting ants, and one of the things that they do is that they will actually farm with aphids, and they protect the aphids from other insects which might potentially predate on them. But at the same time, the aphids also provide them with a sugar-rich secretion, which they get a lot of nutrition from.
We have got an unbelievable scene unfolding here. The entire herd is in the dam. Listen to that noise. Oh, there are some very young calves here. Oh, there's a tiny newborn there. Have a look at that. Still learning what water even is, putting its whole face in. Excuse me. Sneezing away from the elephant excitement. So this is pretty unreal. I mean, it was like the whole herd just automatically ran into the water, and now everybody's out, and there's actually more elephants joining from the side still, so we might still see a bit of water action there. But it seems as though this was definitely the perfect thing for them on Christmas afternoon. A little bit of time in the water to play. Oh, we've got one going back in. Yvette, this is what I love about elephants. They get so clumsy and playful when they reach water on a hot day. It just, I mean, you won't often see an elephant this playful out of the water, but bring it to a water hole on a hot day and you've got a whole different side of them. I mean, literally doing somersaults in the water here and playing. I think the other thing I love about them is the calves being so clumsy when they're learning. They remind me of myself. Little game of pushing and shoving happening here, and this is very difficult in the water. They just look like they are having the best afternoon. I mean, don't you just want to jump in and join them? So these are definitely two teenagers that have a lot of energy. Adam, an elephant is considered a tusker when the tusks are bigger than a certain size, and it's normally more than 50 pounds per tusk, so more than 25 kilograms per tusk will make it a tusker. I think that's the value. I must double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 50 pounds a tusk. So it's only allowed to be considered a tusker when the tusks exceed a certain size. These days, unfortunately, we are seeing less and less tuskers, and in fact, more and more elephants with no tusks at all. I think they're realizing that the herd is moving off and now might be time to move. No, back in the water. So you would think that they're playing that it's actually two males, but it's actually two females. They're just very energetic. And on the other side we have some synchronized drinking from two more. So this is just a sign of playfulness in elephants. They're not trying to bully each other or anything like that. It's just a sign of playfulness when they climb all over each other. And it happens a lot in the water. Oh, here comes a third to join. Let's just have a listen to the sounds for a while. This is crazy. Christmas treat. Not actually physically chasing anything, just enjoying being able to splash in the water. Oh, it's chasing the blacksmith lapwing, Darren. Watch this Ellie on the side. This is one of the young males. And he's chasing the blacksmith lapwings. Oh, I'm so glad everybody's enjoying it as much as Darren and I are. It seems like the one on the other bank is a bit nervous to get into the water, or not so keen to get fully wet, so just splashing around and walking around the end of the dam instead of joining the others in the water. Oh my goodness, this one is throwing a tantrum. So much energy. Oh, now the other one's throwing a tantrum too. Jason, unfortunately, I have witnessed elephants hurting each other with their tusks. When big males fight, it can get very, very aggressive, especially if both of them are in must. They have almost extra strength at the time. They've got extra bravado, and they can literally fight to the death. And unfortunately, I have seen, I've seen a tusk go right through an elephant's ear. I've seen a tusk pierce the side of an elephant. It's not very pleasant. They break each other's tusks off. It can be quite hard to watch, but it's unfortunately one of those things where, we're out here and we have to try not to get extremely upset about it. It definitely still upsets you, but it's part of the bigger picture. Because usually what happens is if an elephant gets hurt on its side with a tusk, if it pierces through the skin close to the rib cage, what it usually does is punctures a lung, and elephants will usually die from that. Most animals would die from a punctured lung, even humans. I mean, without medical help, obviously. David Wild, I'm actually not sure, to be honest. I don't know how long an elephant can hold its breath for. I would think not nearly as long as a hippo, because hippos live in the water and they're specially adapted to hold their breath for 5 or 6 minutes under the water. I would think elephants can hold their breath for maybe a minute, a little bit longer than that, but I don't know if it's ever really been tested. I don't know how you would test that, actually. With the hippo, you know it's going to be underwater and come back up. But with an elephant, a little bit more challenging to try and determine. But if I can find an accurate amount that's actually been backed scientifically, I'll let you know for sure. I would think it's maximum of maybe a minute and a half though. This elephant is having such a good time. Both of them are. This dam is really not that deep, but somehow it manages to swallow an entire elephant under the water. Quite mind-blowing. Well, I'm glad that the fourth one eventually got in, because it looks like it's having a great time. This is actually a really good equalizer for the elephants, especially the teenagers, when they're starting to learn how to push each other around, and they're using it to practice their own fighting skills in case they ever need them. The water is a good equalizer because they can't hurt each other as easily, and the strength is more evenly distributed because the water carries most of their weight. And I think they just have so much fun doing it. Honestly, it looks so good. And every now and then you can actually hear their tusks clashing. Nancy, the family element that elephants display. Wow, you gave me a tongue twister. Family element that elephants display is very, very special. The bonds that they have are almost unparalleled to other animals. No matter what happens, even if they split up, they can always find each other again, and they'll always greet each other as old friends. And they're so protective of the young. They have so much fun together. It really is one of the most special things about elephants. I'm sure in many, many years' time, when these all have babies, that they're going to bring the calves back to this water hole and play with them in the water like they are now. There's actually another elephant coming back to join again. Seems like we've got the teenagers having a blast, and it's a mix of males and females actually, which is quite unusual. Normally the females stick with the herd. So I'm definitely going to spend as much time as I can here this afternoon. I think it's going to be very, very fun to see how long
Welcome back from test out the lovely breeding herd of elephant around the dam. We are here, we arrive at Befesuk Dam, Juma Safarila. This is one of the well-known dam around an area. I believe Clown Lamba knows this dam very well. Being in the area, she might come back and really drink water in this dam and head more east. We just come across with the lonely female with the youngster. Very interesting how I actually ended being in this waterhole. Now and then look like he's not an unhappy chap. He's always dipping in, hiding away from us, which takes few minutes even to come out. We know that the hippo can hold breath inside water for a little bit longer periods. And I believe he might be coming from one of the waterhole where he does have a dominant male or method of dominant male. Hippo, it's in their nature. If they walk at night and suddenly it gets early, if this waterhole doesn't have dominant male, you'll come and live here. But if it's a male that, of course, being a dominant here, you'll go back in the same area where it comes from. Because the protection of youngster must be always good. A dominant male, if you take a youngster that doesn't belong to him, he's going to kill it. Hippo have a huge canine or tusk, you may call it on that way. It can be so long sometimes, from 30 centimeter long or less than that. It depends how big it is and how old it might be and how good have taken care of his tusk or canine. We'll be really start looking for leopard into the eastern. We had the lamb call. We were hoping to stop here. Maybe we might see a leopard coming out of the area. But slowly we'll head east. We had the lamb call here. We had the lamb call here coming in, and the breeding herd of elephant approaching the area. I believe it might be the same herd that earlier on we have. We'll reposition the vehicle like it's the right time. Look like it's the right time for elephant. But I was waiting here to see if we may able to hear any lamb call that might be taking place here, because I think the lamba is not out of this area. We have worked pretty much the area where you might cross over back south. There's no evidence at all. Look at this beautiful elephant. How much relaxed, coming close to your vehicle without fearing us. Oh, be careful. Mpo. Elephant just splashing water. It reaches our vehicle easily. Look like a female and the calf, and all three are the young males. That is very common to find the young males following the female. It's not just because they're going to mate. They really like the company of the female, and they will move out of the area in their own direction. More coming to our left, right, and going to our left. They're gonna all come across close to the vehicle here, enjoying water. Let me be quiet and really get the sound of when the elephant gets into the water, splashing of water and all that. Yeah, a lot more coming. It's always, you see where they group together. The minute they have youngster, they put the youngster in the middle. If it's anything inside water, in a form of danger, crocodile, if you try to go for the youngster, the older one will be immediately in the protection of the youngster. They're always drinking in the same area of their mother's trunk. They're dipping in almost in the same area. If there's anything that troubles the youngster, is where that you might find these guys. All of them, they'll go mad and go go for croc. I've seen it before, where lion tried to go for the youngster, not croc, and immediate effect, you tend to see of them standing the ground and chase the lion. It happens before where being herd of elephant, lions hunting impala, they caught impala in front of a vehicle where all the herd chasing impala. In between the lions and the elephant, there were a vehicle. Elephant, they were so emotional. They tipped over the vehicle and pushed the vehicle because the lions were going underneath the vehicle and going to the other side. You can see how emotional when it comes to elephant, it really gets interference of a lions. Well, it's really Flo wants to, is looking forward for this splash of an elephant, but look like they all head out. We're hoping maybe they might take a swim, because in this herd you can see they still, most of them are adult, but I can calculate 5 or 6 of sub-adult up to 7 sub-adult. Mainly they like swimming. They can dip inside water and make a lot of noise. Such amazing. Each and every female look like taking its own direction. Mainly, I don't think elephant can see underwater. The only thing that they can do is to swim across. If they swim a river knowing the direction. Elephant are more like, I'll say us human being. We can't see inside the water unless if you put special equipment to see. The only species that can see is the aquatic species. They can see underwater. But elephant again, if is anything inside water or anything that touches them inside water, they can use waves to see where it's going. And of course, they can go direct on that area. But seeing underwater, not at all. They cannot see. That's the reason elephants sometimes cross in river. I've seen them. The youngster and the female, if a river is very deep, they'll raise the trunk and the youngster are able to hold his mother's tail and manage to follow on that single chain in order to cross from the other side. So they might really going in and knowing in this direction, I'm going to come out. They do swim. If they feel like they're a little bit really in the deep area, they can raise the head and swim and able to see the direction and go according to the safety spot. These two they split up into different angle. It's in the nature of elephant. They need to move in the area without damaging any environment. So they will be going that way, but at the end of the day, they're all going to join together. If you look at this one, they're going to the left, the other one is going to the east from the dam itself, and they will be in communication. They will communicate easily, and they're all going to really join before the sun goes down. It's easy to take care of the youngster. They believe to be in numbers at night because that is actually how they can get rid of predators around. You tend to see sometimes when wild dog interact with an elephant had a hard time. They will be chasing wild dog and the other wild dog comes this angle, you'll see elephant going mad. Seeing wild dog, these guys are not happy in most cases, because also wild dog, they just play. They know that the elephant is too big, but they like to tease the big animal. The most of the elephant, as you can see now, Mupo is showing us, they focus on the inlet of the river, where there's quite a lot of healthy grass. They need to spend their time around those areas and let the youngster eating a very good healthy food. It's how actually the youngster can really grow fast, and how the species itself can stay healthy in the area. It's very good for a species to stay healthy, because survival of the fittest. If you're not fit, you'll be challenged by hyenas and lions. So the females are doing well. More or less where they are is where we had the lamb call. We are going to take our loop around that area looking for Talamba.
And would you believe it? It's like nothing ever happened here. The water is back to its calm state. No more sounds of elephants. And if we weren't here 10 minutes ago, I would never have said that even happened. The only indicator I can still see is the odd little pile of elephant dung and broken branch here and there. But in contrast to all of that beautiful noise we heard with the splashing and the trumpeting, let's just have a listen to the quiet and calm of the different birds that are now back around the dam now that the commotion has left. There's actually 4 or 5 different woodland kingfishers calling to each other at the moment from different sides of the dam. Wow. So with all the noise from the elephants when we got here, we couldn't really hear birds. But sitting here, it's quite unreal how many different birds I can hear, and coming from all directions at the moment. It's a very peaceful scene. As much as I could stick with the elephants here all day, I could definitely stick with the birds here all day too. How special. So there is definitely a storm rolling in. I can hear thunder very faintly in the background, so I think it's still quite far. But we are appreciating that there are probably 5 or 6 different woodland kingfishers at this point, all calling each other. I can hear them from almost every angle right now. So there was this absolutely massive and crazy noise when the elephants left. They all ran off together, and then all of a sudden the quiet kicked in, and within a minute all the birds had started calling again. And it's literally like they haven't been here at all. The only disturbance in the dam has been some Egyptian geese and the occasional terrapin. I'm feeling like a little bit of a woodland kingfisher magnet right now. I know that in reality they're just enjoying the dam and all of the insects around it and all of the other bird life. But it's hard not to feel special Or like it's a bit of a Christmas gift when they are literally all around you and all calling to each other. Sometimes at the same time even. That last one was extra dramatic, it was drawn out. So we have been very, very lucky in the last few days. We have had a lot of kingfishers calling, but even better, we've seen a lot of them displaying. Nina, I'm so happy that you enjoy their calls and that you could listen to it all day. That is definitely the way it goes out here in summer. We hear woodland kingfishers almost all day, but I haven't heard it quite at this scale for a while. And it just goes to show there are more and more of them coming every day. And they're looking for partners and they're looking for nesting sites and they're displaying a lot. So it's actually quite a special time. If you think about it, it's not something as big as an elephant or an elephant herd, but this is their own party happening right now. Just like the elephants had one, the woodland kingfishers are having one right now. From all different directions, and they're all calling to each other and flying over each other. And when they do find a partner, they'll display with the partner, they'll intimidate each other, just like the elephants were doing. Just on a much smaller and much bluer scale. There's a lot of life here. It really is beautiful. Now you can hear the red-billed buffalo weavers as well, some doves. Lucy, they migrate every year. And so once a year they'll come down and once a year they'll go back. They normally come down between November and December. And then they start to go back in about February, March, usually. You obviously get some exceptions to the norm. So some arrive late and some leave late. Some arrive early and some leave early. There's always an exception to the rule somewhere. But they should be here for the next 3 months at least. And then you'll hear them moving and it gets quieter and quieter. And then all of a sudden, there's no more woodland kingfishers for quite a few months. And then it's quite a strange feeling. You almost feel a little bit lost when you go out and you can't hear any woodland kingfishers anymore. Because they form such a huge part of our everyday when we're out here for those few months. And they're so loud, they have such a beautiful presence and so bright. That when you don't really have them around, then it feels quite different for the first month. It takes some getting used to. But it also just reinforces how special it is and how lucky we are to spend those few months with them because they do make such an impact. Everybody knows a woodland kingfisher call and everybody appreciates it out here. We hear it so often. And now all of a sudden the woodland kingfisher party has ended, just like the elephant party ended. The next 2 months in particular, we're going to hear a lot of woodland kingfishers. I think the earliest recorded kingfisher coming in was like the end of October. Josie, you'd never be in a bad mood in the bush. Well, that's really good to hear. That's nice and refreshing to hear. I don't know if it's actually possible to be in a very bad mood out here. I really don't. It's such a refreshing place and there's always something going on and quite a calm environment. I mean, you can see. That being said, it can also be very chaotic if you have wild dogs and all sorts of things running around. You get back and you feel exhausted at the end of the day because it's just been so much going on that you're absolutely ready for a week-long nap sometimes. But it's never a bad day, sometimes just a bit of a tiring day, and that's absolutely fine. It means we're working hard and we're enjoying it even more. So that's how it's supposed to be. Alright, what I think I'm actually going to do from here, it is nice and peaceful and calm. The elephant party is gone, the woodland kingfisher party is gone. Now we've got a dove party moving in, seem to be going in waves this afternoon at the dams. I head down towards Ribbon's den site and just check there quickly, see if there might be any activity. I'm not sure if she'll be there. And from there we will see where the wind blows us. It seems to be a lucky afternoon. Oh wow, that's quite incredible. So while we do that, we're going to head off on our little bumble towards Ribbon. It sounds like Rexon has found some buffalo.
Welcome back from Tessa. We've been looking around. We've just seen tracks across the Buffalo Dam early part of the day. We have managed to find a Cape buffalo here. 3 of them, they're all males. This is the group of males called bachelor boys or bachelor group. Very important. These guys are so much protective from themselves. Being 3 like all together like this, they can stand the ground for anything that might come in the area. Again, it's very rare to see buffalo now because the migration of the buffalo, it tells you they're all out of the area, headed more to the north, and they only come here around winter time. Somewhere March, April, as you go, May, June, you start to see buffalo coming back in the area. The reason behind that, the Dagger boys or the bachelor boys that we are witnessing at the moment, in most cases they choose the area where it's water availability, and of course there's enough grazing around, or healthy grazing around that area. They don't use a lot of energy. They build up themselves by grazing, wallowing, drinking, and cover at least 1 kilometer square of an area around water holes. When lion comes in that area, they will defend themselves. The only time that you might see buffalo get hunted easily is when the buffalo are not in a healthy status, in a healthy condition around winter. They lose quite a lot. Remember, these buffalo, they carry TB around in the area. So if they lose condition, also they do really suffer from diseases that they have in the body system that doesn't kill them. It just shorten the lifespan of an animal. But if they really feed themselves well, they will be, of course, manage to keep the condition well. But it's very difficult in the area. In winter, you cannot really guarantee, there's no much grazing around in the area. That's the reason they quite losing condition very highly in the surrounding. The lions tend to go for them easily. I guarantee you, in this kind of condition where the 3 buffalo are at the moment, or in the status that they're now holding as a big boys, I don't think the lion can able to hunt them easily. They'll fight and they'll chase lion. I've seen sometimes these guys, if they come across with the lion pride of cubs, these guys that can hunt cubs in this stage, try to fight them. You know, the reason why the other one's running away, all of them, they have their rank. Being 3, there's the one that is dominating the rest, and the second dominant, and the one that, of course, is the last. They will join by young males sometimes, or bulls that are really tired, working on the breeding society, defending, mating. These guys, they're not mating. That's the reason they can manage to hold themselves into the area, not to move a lot, and able to build up on the body system and be stronger and stronger. When they come across with the female, these 3 guys, I guarantee, are the one that they're going to participate on mating. After mating, they might go their own direction. They're not going to stay there all the time on the breeding head itself. They will join if there's an opportunity, if a head comes into that direction. And all the time, you know that in society, in the females, there's always a female that might be mating. If not, might be a female that can read through the Jacobson organs that female might be in 2 days in heat, a week's time must be in heat. These guys, they will stay with that particular head and may able to mate when the female, she tends to full cycle of mating, and after mating, they will move their own direction. Of course, find an area where there's a lot of grass, lot of water. Sometimes you tend to see them this time of the year preferring a river, dry riverbed, to be on those areas and able to really, after feeding, they can lie down the thicket of tambotis and card and ruminate, try to chew all the cards. That's the reason that look the condition you can see from here, very shining, the color skin, it tells that they are in a good status of healthiness. Nice for your question is the size. The buffalo male, the size is very big, and the female are almost smaller. The reason behind that, a buffalo can weigh from 700 kg up to 800 kg, depend. With the buffalo, time and again, you tend to go some of the area they can weigh nearly ton, 900 and something kgs around. So here, most of the time, you may get it from 7 up to 8, and you might get those who weigh more than that. It's just a matter of in the right time. If you wanna really see them at the right time of the season, you might come across. So males are more bigger in general appearance of a male are bigger than the female. There's some of the female, of course, not many of them. You may get to see them, they're looking more bulky and strong and big, but most of the female, they're average size. And you can tell also from the footprint, female smaller, male bigger. And of course, with general appearance, male have solid sort of a horn or boss in front, where the female is covered by hair in front. So you can tell the difference between female and the male. Let me reverse. I'm moving out of Yes, in the world, lions the biggest predator. Lions, except lions, human beings. Lions are the biggest hunter of a buffalo. Not only them, in this area here, you might find that a buffalo might get hunted with, it depends on size. You tend to see male leopard hunting for baby buffalo. Hyena, they can gang together and hunt a buffalo. It depends on the condition of the buffalo. If a buffalo is very healthy, no way that you find that hyena may get to hunt. I know that time and again there is a record of wild dog hunting baby buffalo. So it's more important. That tells if hyena and warthog, if they take and the wild dog, if they take over hunting those species, it might mean they have judged the condition of the species itself, and they really go for it. As I was saying earlier on, survival of the fittest. You may find that even a leopard, if the buffalo is not in good condition, they can take chances. They can judge and look at the condition and do. But commonly, yes, buffalo get hunted by lion in most cases. You may time and again you see get hunted by hyenas. Hyenas is just a matter of it's a sick buffalo or injured buffalo. Welcome back. We are still with the buffalo. The buffalo just grazing at the moment and looking the direction where they might be heading. Buffalo is in their nature. They have to eat. Sometimes during the course of a day, they do lie down. Try to ruminate or chewing all the cars that have been processing in the course of a day. There will be a certain time where they will get up and move. Later, around 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, they do lie down again. And they really prefer to be in an area where they feel like there's safety. Area where it might be open. Area where they can know that really there's nothing can disturb them. Moving around in the area, they will read the scent of lions and other species that might be active in the surrounding. If it's a zero lion, they will be happy to be at anywhere in the course of a night. But if there's a lion in that particular area, they tend to be into open spaces at night where they can see a buffalo and fight back. Buffalo is one of the species of 5 in the area, very well known in the surrounding areas of hunting. The hunters, they used to hunt buffalo in the area. If you got to shot a buffalo, you know that you might be in trouble. Don't track it, because if you track it, it will ambush you and go for you. That's the reason they get actually in a list of big 5 species that are easily to fight back if you do interfere or if you do hunt them. And again, buffalo in the area, you find them in big numbers. You can have a troop of buffalo herd that are more than 200, 500 buffaloes altogether.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. At the moment, we're watching 3 elephant bulls that are busy grazing in an open area. They're most likely going to start moving towards the dam very soon. A little bit earlier, we actually were positioned in a thicker area looking at a number of little small flowers, and this specific elephant just popped out of nowhere next to the side of a vehicle. It seems he was actually attracted to the tinsel on the vehicle. He started nudging it, and then we had to have a few words with him in Afrikaans and actually asked him to very politely move on. At the moment, he's relaxed again, so hopefully he's not going to come back and come and play with the tinsel again. At the moment, they're feeding on a lot of grasses. So grasses has got a lot of nutritional value at this time of the year, as mentioned quite earlier in the show. We actually see them browsing very little at the moment. They reckon at this time of the year they spend approximately 60% of their time browsing, and 60% of their time grazing, which means feeding on grass, while 40% is spent on browsing, which is feeding on leaf material. In winter, it just works the other way around. And generally in winter, we find that the grasses actually have very low nutritional value, especially once they become lignified. That means when they go yellow in color, and they don't have all this protein in it, and that's much more starchy. It also has a very low moisture content at that time of the year. One of the interesting things that I did watch earlier on, which I haven't seen before, is actually that the woodland kingfisher was associating with one of the elephants. And as it was moving and disturbing insects, as it was moving about, the woodland kingfisher was actually making meals out of those little insects which were flying up. Good afternoon, Donna, and welcome to the show. Yes, there's lots of elephants at the moment on Pridelands. And a few weeks ago, I started noticing them coming in. A few days ago, we also counted a group of approximately 300 to 400 individuals moving in and out in a 45-minute to an hour period, which we were busy watching them. A lot of breeding herds that are also coming into the area, and also a lot of bulls that are in must at the moment, which is specifically focusing on following these breeding herds and checking if they can find potential dates within that group. We've also noticed that a number of young bulls are trying their luck, and they're not so successful, and the females actually fight them off and chase them off, and then they get a little bit cocky and arrogant about it, and they go take their frustrations out on us as well as on other elephants and other animals coming towards the waterholes. Some of the bigger bulls we've also noticed recently to be in must is actually Zawini, which is also hanging around the area lately. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with him for the next few drives. In the meanwhile, we're going to move on and see what's going on with the dam. Let's go and see what the rest of the team is up to.
Elephants are definitely plentiful at the moment, and luckily for us, Ribbon is very present at the moment, so we have been overjoyed to see her at the den so much in the last 2 or 3 days. And one of her cubs is feeling very mischievous and is sharpening its teeth at the moment. The other one seems to be nursing, so you can't really see it behind Ribbon, but this one is being very, very, very cute. You can really see in the light at the moment there's a bit of sunlight breaking through the clouds. This little one is really starting to lighten a lot on its face. Struggling a lot with that stick. So this is actually my Christmas wish list complete. Elephants at the dam with calves and hyena cubs. And in fact, it's something that my nieces asked me to find today. One wanted elephant calves and one wanted hyena cubs. So my heart is happy. My heart is full. Oh, nice stretch ribbon. Oh, there's the glimpse of the other cub. Ariel, yes, they actually do come close to the vehicle. They are gaining in confidence every single day. And so now the den is actually very, very close to where we are. It's probably 6 meters from where I am currently. And the cubs will come to within, I'd say, 2.5 meters of the vehicle. Not for long stretches, but when we sit still for a while, they do come down and have a look, and then they play around a bit, and then they go back to Ribbon, and then they come out again. So they're gaining in confidence, and it's a big boost for us as well, because then we know that we are handling the situation correctly if they feel confident enough to explore around us. Let's heard the guinea fowl. Oh, there's a glimpse of some teeth. Now imagine being Ribbon. She is very well adapted, but to have 2 little cubs with faces like that, obviously you fall in love. But with teeth like that, it might not be so comfortable for poor Ribbon. Absolutely enthralled by the sound of a guinea fowl. So hyena cubs are actually the only predators out of wild dogs and leopards and lions that are born with teeth. They are born ready to go. That being said, they actually don't eat much meat. They'll actually keep drinking milk until they're well over a year old. So it's one of the longest times that a predator will nurse their young as well. So they've got both ends of the scale. And in fact, the richest milk too of all the predators. So Ribbon has got this all sorted. She's so well adapted. And it's just lovely to see them so relaxed. Oh, I've got another spider following me. My hat is very good luck. This Christmas hat is very good luck for sightings, but it seems to be a spider attractant as well. Oh, big stretch. Oh, not sure if you want a nap or if you want a nurse, but either way you can do both from up there. Ribbon is a very good pillow. She's a very, very tolerant mom. Oh. And she looks like a very proud mom too. She's very relaxed with us, but a very, very proud mom. So now that the two are... Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. I was going to say now that they're nursing next to each other, we hear some squeaking, but alas, exploring is too much fun. So you can see they are getting more and more confident by the day. They've actually started going behind the termite mound now as well, not just with this entrance. Look, I just flopped down. That was so cute. Sinak, I'm so happy that we've made your Christmas and that you are loving the hyena cubs. It's great to hear that, and it's definitely made my Christmas as well. To see them twice in a day, I feel is just an absolute spoil. It has been a day of brilliant sightings all around, and it's not even 5:30 yet in South Africa. I wonder what it is chewing there. Wow, from a distance you can't even see it. It's a black cub and it's so camouflaged. Ah, there we go. So one thing that I have noticed the last few days that we've been here, they are starting to vocalize quite a bit, which is very special. It's a great time for hyenas because they're learning what they are capable of. But at the same time, they've both been scent marking a lot. They've been rubbing against 2 or 3 specific little bushes around the den site. And once the one does it, the other one does it. So it's a very interesting behavior to witness so early on. Basic instinct, they know exactly how to do it. Oh, that face is too cute. So this in particular is a behavior that wild dogs and hyenas use. They pick up on it very, very quickly. Is greeting by rubbing and sniffing and licking around the mouth of anyone that is higher up than you. Because they've inherited Ribbon's dominance, they of course will end up at the same level that she is at, which at the moment of course is a bit confusing. But she is still their mom. And so both of them will, when they greet her, they'll show her respect by paying attention to her mouth. And then, of course, because we're young and learning and easily distracted, then we go back to chewing sticks. Very, very cute. I want to spend a little bit more time here, and hopefully the other cub will finish up with nursing at some point, and we might be able to see them playing together.
Welcome back from Tessa with the beautiful puppies of the hyena from Ruben Female. We are live here, the Juma Services Safari Live. Today I want to share you about the buffalo valleys in the ecosystem around in the area. Very, very special species around here. In most cases, we would look at the buffalo and think about trophy and think about war horns. Again, it's one of the species that interact a lot when it comes to nature balance, killing other species, of course, for nature balance. That is, yes, it's nature. You find elephant do the same, rhino might do the same. But this is here, a buffalo designed, it do have hooves. The reason why the lions hunting buffalo in nature, practical, God have created buffalo in order to prepare the ground when it comes buffalo movement in the surrounding, especially in a big head stampede of the buffalo, even walking. You will see buffalo denting ground quite a lot. That allows the soil, of course, wherever the buffalo have walked, to hold more oxygen in the area. Without shoveling all this ground by the hoofs, it means the soil itself cannot hold more oxygen when it rains. Buffalo will move in the area, prepare the soil by the hoofs. When it rains, the sand or the soil itself hold more water because the buffalo can move in the area, shoveling with the hoofs itself in order to hold more water than the grass itself that we see can able to get more water and grow in a better success in order to feed other species. So most of the species that move in the area in numbers, it could be impala, it could be buffalo, it could be anything. They come to root cut a lot for soil to hold more oxygen in the surrounding.
So we have repositioned a little bit, and we have got the cubs still in the same place. One is nursing and one is still chewing the stick. And Ribbon is as relaxed as ever. So I think this cub has been playing with that stick for quite a while. You can see all of the grass around where it's lying is pretty flattened. I think it's found a nice little nest out of the grass there where it's nice and comfy. And it's practicing those impressive skills with its jaw. Now, even at this age, a hyena cub's bite will be quite hard. They have the strongest bite force of any land mammal. So even as a cub, those jaws would be formidable. I'm sure you could easily lose a finger to a hyena cub if you weren't paying attention. So just by chewing on sticks, not only is it cleaning its teeth, keeping them in good condition and helping them grow, but it's also strengthening those jaw muscles and practicing what is the best way to bite. Because you bite with the front of your mouth, with the side of your mouth. And so it's important to practice all of those skills before you have to start digesting those very big bones. I actually saw Ribbon do something very interesting a few days ago. She got up and left the den, moved a few meters away, and she regurgitated quite a lot of food. And it wasn't just meat, a lot of it was bone, which is normal for a hyena. They digest a lot of bone. But what fascinated me was she regurgitated a piece of bone that was easily 2/3 of the length of one of the cubs. It was a very, very long bone. It looked almost like a femur, so a leg bone from the thigh. And she somehow had that stored somewhere and managed to bring it up, and then she managed to chew it down into smaller pieces, into shards, and swallow it again. But it was just fascinating to me because I've seen them regurgitate food before, but I've never seen a hyena regurgitate a bone of that size in one piece. So I think it was probably sitting uncomfortably, and she decided she had to bring it up in order to chew it a little bit more and reshape it. Oh, you can see that sucking movement there, all those muscles in the tongue and the cheeks. And pressing down with the paw, holding her in place but also repositioning her mammary glands. Hansi, it's very highly unlikely that the siblings will become enemies. They usually stay with the clan and they recognize each other. It's just like leopard cubs or lion cubs. They should recognize each other for the rest of their lives. The only issue would be, for example, if Ribbon was still the matriarch and both of the cubs were female, one of them is the next in line at some point. And so which one of the two would become the matriarch and which would follow. And that's normally determined very quickly after birth by basic size. The bigger cub is normally the dominant one, but of course we know that they are capable of challenging these things. So they'll never become full-blown enemies, but there definitely could be dominant spats and disagreements between cubs. That is quite normal, and that's part of nature, working out the hierarchy as you go. But they should not ever become full-blown enemies, even if they move to a different clan. For example, if the males wander to a new clan, which is not unlikely, then they would still recognize each other. In this position, that cub almost looks like a piglet, the way that it's lying, stretched out. Oh, what did you hear? Definitely heard something and paused altogether from chewing and then decided, okay, it's not that. Oh, there we go, sitting down to listen, paying close attention to noises. So this is really good for us to see. It means they're learning quickly and they're learning to sit still instead of panicking straight away, because panic could cause some very bad situations out here if they run into another predator. I'm going to watch them for a little bit longer, and then I think I will leave them to enjoy their afternoon, the last little bit of Christmas. Let's head over to Rexon.
Welcome back from Tessa with the hyena puppies. We are now with the buffalo here. One of the buffalo went up in the termite mound eating all the grass that are highly nutritious. It's one of the most species at the moment. Not easy to see, very rare. Due to water, there are water everywhere around after rain, and there's quite more grass around in the area. A buffalo, they migrate from one part to another, of course. Earlier on, I was talking about the importance of these species in the ecosystem. Buffalo that move in numbers, they do a great job in the area or in the ecosystem itself, because these guys are the one that prepare the soil in order to get more oxygen by really shuffling the sands as they move, and water gets into those areas where they dent it very easily. And of course, grass grows very fast, and more oxygen. If the soil is more compact, there's not much oxygen on that. But once the soil is loose, a lot of oxygen, and when the rain gets into those areas of water, it really gets into the system of the ground. How actually important is that for the elephant? That's reason you'll find in the area of some of the reserve, they still keep buffalo and a domestic animal, like as far as cattle. They have herders that move them, control them in areas, move around. The reason behind that is to really let them dent the ground in order for soil to hold more oxygen and water. When it rains, some of the area that maintain on that way, you tend to see more grass in that area that grows into high level. It can get up to maybe a meter in some of the area. It's where actually you may find buffalo in numbers, and also area that controlled by herders, of course, of the head of cattle, creating more oxygen on the ground that can hold more water in order to feed the grass. So in most cases, some of the farms in the area where there's wildlife, whatever, if you need to have a best wildlife in your surrounding, you first farm the grass, then all the species might come into the area. How you may farm the grass? The same system that I'm talking about, having buffalo or domestic cattle move into the area, enter the ground. When the rain comes, will be able to support the grass itself by holding more water in order to feed the grass. Is how actually buffalo created in the nature in the area. It's unlike elephant. They have planted great. elephant food, it's almost like the human being's food. It's only the reason, the difference there, the elephant, they have toes that they can able to dig roots with it. But when they farm, when they walk in the area, they cannot manage to dent the ground. They're walking here very swiftly. Same as the lion, same as the leopard. They never contribute quite a lot when it comes to really giving. These buffalo are nervous here. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they are followed by something that we can't see. But they're looking more down towards the drainage line. One buffalo running and the second one turn around and face into the same direction. A buffalo is not a coward animal. In most cases, if a lion walks in the area or human being walks in the area, they run for a certain distance and turn around and face whatever might be coming in a form of danger. So you have to be careful walking in the area. A buffalo will be really fight back, especially if it gets in the area where they might walk for a few meters away and turn back and face you, especially the darker boys. One of these guys, if they get injuries, if you think about a buffalo walking in the area and they think the buffalo is having injuries, immediately climb the tree, because the buffalo will come back to you. Would never ever hesitate to kill a human being. Is how actually it works out in nature here with the buffalo. Are so much aggressive with human being and are so much important to have them in the ecosystem. That's the reason some of the area, of course, you might find that the buffalo, it will move from one part to another, migrate in the area. Some of the area where you find buffalo stay in the same point, it's very easy to dent the grass and destroy the grass, because especially if the area is too small, so you have to bring the number down. So you have to do so-called culling and bring the number down. But if you have the right number in a certain area where designed to have animal, like if you have 1,000 hectares and you keep the right number, you would have always joy on that particular area, because the buffalo will do most of the job around in that particular area, not to overgraze and cause erosion. Lovely. They're all lying down at the moment. Most of them. We've just spotted 3. There's still more. Jenny, you asked question I've seen before, but sometimes you find that buffalo sometimes they're naughty. Sometimes you find the young elephant try to protect water hole during a drought season where the buffalo need to get down, especially these called dagger boys. These are bachelor boys. Once they go and the buffalo the elephant resist, they eventually try to push one another. But on a fight, always the elephant is going to win. A buffalo is a very aggressive species by nature. They have no respect of other species when it comes to really protect themselves, especially around water holes. If water in winter is not that much good, they will try to push even hippo, they will try to push even a rhino, they will try to push even elephant. I've seen that interaction, but it's not like a really fight. It's just a matter of get off my way, and eventually a rhino and the elephant, because they're so much powerful, and they push the buffalo hardly or hurt the buffalo sometimes. I've seen before where the buffalo, especially if elephant is in mass, come across with buffalo, they can kill a buffalo, especially if buffalo doesn't want to move out of the way. So it's very, very dangerous in between the two species, of course. When they get to fight, all the time a buffalo will lose the fight. And I've seen buffalo fighting with rhino before, and I've seen rhino fighting with an elephant. When we come back, really I'll be able to share this story, what I've seen between a rhino and an elephant. We'll be linking back to Tessa with the beautiful puppies.
I am hoping for another Christmas surprise this afternoon. I'm on a Bumble that is slightly higher paced than my normal Bumble because I know where I'm going. And I'm hoping that we can give you one more surprise for Christmas. I'm hoping. We shall see. Oh, yeah, I think we can. Shall we do a little view from here real quick and then we'll get closer? Oh, this is exciting. What are the guesses? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, hello, my Reeves. How are you? So my Ribs is definitely having a very, very active Christmas day. Definitely moving up and down between Djuma and Chitwa, and that was actually how he was spotted. He was moving over from Chitwa back to Djuma. I wonder if he went to Chitwa to look for Tundi. Absolutely beautiful boy. So I'm going to stick with him here for a little bit and then I'll get a little bit closer for you just now. But I just want to see, I'm taking a bit of a wider view to see what he is staring at. This is where the impalas were earlier, and there are guinea fowls in the distance that we could hear. And I'm wondering what is going through his head. I think he's hearing the guinea fowl. I think it's a little bit too far away for us to hear, but I do know there is a guinea fowl that was unhappy not so far behind us. Oh, beautiful boy. What a pleasure it is to see him every single time. So Mr. Maribs is sitting very, very beautifully for us to film today. He definitely seems to enjoy the limelight on Christmas Day, I think. He has not moved far from where he was this morning. And as I say that, he gets up and moves. So he's been moving between Chitwa and Djuma. And at the moment he is just on Djuma, but he looks like he might be going back towards Chitwa to look possibly for Tundi. And this is exactly what I was hoping for, that he wouldn't have moved too far so that we could see what he gets up to this afternoon. It is perfect leopard weather. The storm is building, the temperature's dropping, and he is just being his normal active clown self. He is representing. So I'm going to try and get you another view of him. He is actually crossing the road. There we go. Jennifer, I'm happy that we could complete your Christmas checklist for you. Believe me, mine is more than complete now. My cup is overflowing currently, and it makes me very, very happy. Very, very happy indeed. So he's actually moving towards a little mud wallow, but before I head around there, I just want to see which direction he's going. If he's approaching the water, then I'll approach the water, but he might just be moving along next to the road. I have to hold my hat every now and then because, you know, it bounces into the frame. Alright, he's actually... Oh, he's going to the bathroom. Part of scent marking for a leopard. He's going to the bathroom. Well, that is one thing that I have been absolutely fascinated by with him today. He is scent marking so much. He's sawing. He's acting like a dominant male leopard, and he's not even 2 years old yet. That is quite something. Let's just see where he goes before I move. He seems to be scent marking almost every bush that he goes past. And he was doing it even, so it was quite random this morning, in the middle of the road while he was walking. If Tundi stopped walking, he's going in there, let's go in there. He was walking and he was scent marking in the middle of the road. In the middle. It was quite unusual. He looks like he wants to scent mark again. Oh no, just relaxing now. Just relaxing.
Just watch your hat.
Ah, watch the hat. All right. Thank you, Darren. So he definitely is a very beautiful boy. And the first thing I notice about him every time, other than his beautiful ear tufts, watch when he turns his head a little bit towards us. He's got a very, there you can see the top of it, he's got a very dark streak on the top of his head there where the spots are very close together, but it's actually the color in between the spots that catches my eye. It is so dark in that frown line that if you look at him, he's got lighter patches closer to his ears and this very dark streak where, there you go, where a mohawk would be. And that to me is one of, he's catching flies. One of the most noticeable features of him, especially like that from a distance. I wonder if he's just waiting for Tundi to come back. She disappeared past this pan this morning, and I doubt she's been back. She's probably somewhere close to Chitwa Dam, looking for something to eat. And this is the last place that he physically had his eyes on her. He was over the road having a stare off with the impalas. And Tundi disappeared exactly past here. And I wonder if he's just waiting for her to come back. Instead of following her, that takes too much energy. Oh, it's time for a cat nap. So you can see he's in very good condition. He's definitely eaten, and that was when, I think it was actually Tundi, she caught a big male impala, and we saw a glimpse of them. And I think he stole half the carcass, so his tummy is still full, but that does not mean he will not eat again. If his scrub hair had to present itself accidentally right now, I'm sure he would go for it. And if Tundi had to find a scrub hair or an impala, he would go for that too. Shame, I think the flies are irritating him. You can see the tip of his tail's been moving, but he has not stopped flicking his ears. So this morning was a lot windier, which means the flies have a slightly harder time navigating. This afternoon there is not a breath of wind. And so that does mean, even though it's cool, that the flies are going to be a lot more attracted to the moisture around his nose, his mouth, his eyes, and those ear cavities. Shame, you can see he's trying to clean them. Brendan, yes, maybe he will catch a guinea fowl for Christmas. I think that would be a good Christmas meal for him. Not so lucky for the guinea fowl, definitely not, but it is one of his staples, apparently. He does enjoy guinea fowls, so it would be very, very interesting to see that go down. It would be my first time seeing my ribs hunting. I've seen him stalking a lot, he stalks everything, but I haven't seen him actively hunt anything and kill it. I guess his version of a roast on Christmas would be a guinea fowl. He's also, actually, I'm just noticing, he's got very solid necklace stripes going from his chest all the way up to behind his ears, like 2 stripes in a ring. It's very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. But I'm very, very happy to be with this boy this afternoon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with him for a while longer and see where he decides to go and what he decides to do. And while we do that, let's head back over to Rexon, who is still with his buffalo.
Welcome back from beautiful cat Maris, one of the favorite leopard around in the area. Maris, he was born in the area during the lockdown around March, if I'm not mistaken. Grew up in the area without any vehicle that comes to see him, because lockdown, everyone was out of the area. It's such amazing. We are still with this buffalo here, and as we are here, we have seen more buffalo arriving in the spot. It looked like it's quite huge, huge of numbers of individual dagger boys. Maybe breeding head of buffalo that might in the area. They're all lying down at the same time. It's not easy to see them. We'll be leaving them unattended and head more west. Maybe we might find something again for Merry Christmas for everyone. Maybe it might be Tabangume or Kara. It will be nice to see that female moving into the space here. It's one of more entertaining female. Kara, following Kara, she always running up in the trees and playing and all that. Such a cute cat. We'll be leaving this buffalo. I think if it's a breeding herd, they might move into breakfast with them later on. We'll come and check maybe in the morning if there's no line that they follow up. Welcome back. We are here for Safari Life. We just left on the buffalo, they're all lying down, the bachelor boys. If I calculated, there might be plus minus up to 12 or 15 individuals. There's just still more coming from the north. It might happen that a breeding herd is not far from the area. In nature, all the bachelor boys, they might be in front or at the tail of the buffalo, because are the one that really protect the head. But the look of the thing, this might be still trying to go and join on the breeding head of the buffalo, because many of them, they're not really focusing on moving. They're lying down, relaxing, gaining more energy. That is a sign that they might be stay behind the rest of the head. Maybe the head headed more east, that we cannot tell. We'll see in the morning. Breakfast with them is not far from here. If it's a breeding head, they're all gonna come and drink water in the area. For Kalamba to stay away from the area of the buffalo. I've seen buffalo stampeding cubs, lion cubs, leopard cubs. They are so dangerous when it comes to the cubs. They can really kill hyena cubs, lions cubs, leopard cubs easily. I don't want to say that. I'll be very emotional if Talamba lose the cubs. It's one of their favorite cubs at the moment. I really love those cubs.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. At the moment, we are watching a group of giraffe. They were quite curious. They also came a little bit closer and investigated the vehicle. It seems the tinsel in the vehicle has also attracted their attention. There's also a number of impala rams in the background. We're just going to do a small little silent segment on them, and will allow you the opportunity to enjoy watching them as well as listening to the different sounds of birds and insects in the background. Good afternoon, Mimi, and welcome to the show. We're also very happy to see them this afternoon. Quite often when we do manage to find them, they're in the thickets where we can't really get to them. And luckily this afternoon, they're right here in the open. Oops, and you got a bit of a fright of an oxpecker that tried to land on his back there. Normally the oxpeckers do him a favor, and I don't know why I got him to stop still a little bit there. Let's see what he gets up to. We're going to hang around about the giraffes a little bit longer, and in the meanwhile, let's go see what Tessa is up to.
So it seems Mr. Maribs is enjoying his afternoon of relaxation right next to a little mud wallow, and he's heard something, and I think it's the guinea fowl again that's made him look up. There's a very, very unhappy guinea fowl. And normally they're pretty good indicators of leopards, so I wouldn't be surprised if it could smell him or saw some movement. But he is looking incredibly regal this afternoon. I don't know if you all agree, but I think he looks like royalty when he lies like this. And it really shows off his size more than anything. I've been so impressed by the width of his shoulders and neck. Since September, he's grown so much. And the width of his tail. The width of his tail is unreal. So there you can see those beautiful dark rosettes, and this is one of my favorite spot patterns you can find on a leopard. Yes, the face spot patterns are interesting. They really do help us identify the individuals, but to me that spot pattern underneath the tail is so bold. It's one that I really enjoy. Although his little dark mohawk streak is very cute as well. Although very soon, with how big he's getting and how he's displaying, he started scent marking and things like that. I don't think I can call him cute for much longer. Tom, it is possible that we witnessed their parting this morning. They were very interactive. It's probably the most attached I've ever seen him. I would call it clingy almost. It's the most attached I've ever seen him, and she got very, very grumpy with him. But we never know when the last time is going to be, so it very well could have been this morning, and maybe he was just a little bit too clingy for her, and she decided to give him the slip, the classic Tundi slip. I mean, that being said, if he wants to find her again, he can find her fairly easily if he just follows her scent. But she might not tolerate him for much longer, and she shouldn't be, really, because he's almost 2 years old now. So he really is getting to that age and size where he should be independent. You can imagine for her, of course she loves him, and she will feed him, although they will compete over carcasses. It would be very difficult for her to keep feeding him, because every time she kills something, if he comes in, he's going to compete with her. They won't feed on the same carcass. They'll have to split it. And she's doing all the hard work, and he's taking most of the meal because he needs more of it. So it's not sustainable for her to stay with him. Also, he does seem to be quite clumsy. He is quite a clown. He stalks everything. He walks in the middle of the open sometimes. And so it's also not the safest for her to stay with him forever, because it does draw a lot of attention. Give me 1 second. Go ahead. I think he's dreaming of staying with her for a very long time, but you'll find soon enough, like Shasha has become independent. Soon enough, his hormones are going to kick in. He's going to start, they've already started because he's scent marking and sawing, but it's going to kick in that he's going to have this basic instinct to find females and mate, and at that point, he will have no concern for Tundi whatsoever. Yes, if he sees her, they might not fight each other, but he's not actively going to be sticking around with her all the time and following her around like he did this morning, because then his basic instinct is going to be find a territory, take it over, and mate with as many females as he can. And so when that basic instinct takes over, then you'll see a big change in him. He'll start competing with other males for territories. And if we thought that this morning's scent marking was intensive, when he's actually scent marking for his territory, it's very, very different. And it will be a lot more aggressive in the sense that he will scent mark every bush. He will scratch his claws down the trees. He will claw scrape with his back feet on the floor. He'll saw to advertise it. At this point, he is doing some of those things, some of them very half-heartedly. But, if a big male did come along, he'd be in trouble if he was sawing in a big male's territory at this age. So he does still need to be careful. He doesn't want to draw too much attention to himself. Probably also why he is still attached to Tundi, because she is a very experienced leopardess. She's so old, and she's been in this area for such a long time. And so what that would mean is, she can pick up on the signs a lot quicker than he can. So it's at the moment just a comfortable bond. But maybe this morning was the last time. While I sit here with him with his little cat nap, let's head back over to JP, who now has some zebras.
Just going to quickly reposition our vehicle, as animals have just moved out of our space from where we were watching them now. That should be work. Okay, sorry about that. We just want to quickly get a view for you. We eventually got our Christmas procession that we were hoping for. We actually had impala here too. They unfortunately now left. Then we've got a number of zebra that came for a drink, and then our territorial wildebeest male that's on his own over here that's come back to his territory. I actually haven't seen him for quite a while over here. So what all these animals have in common and why they're forming aggregation is purely safety in numbers. It's a fairly open area as well. They can spot potential threats like lion or leopard that might try and sneak up onto them. But what we also find is that they benefit from one another by being alert and also by checking what's going on. And by more eyes, it means less chance that it's you that's going to be eaten by a potential predator. But there's also another reason why we find that the wildebeest is feeding in association with the zebra, and why the impalas are also feeding in association with them. And zebras are quite unique, as that they've got cutting teeth on both upper and lower jaw, and therefore they can feed on much coarser grasses. They cut those coarse grasses off, and then they actually open up the grass tussocks, so the wildebeest with a smaller muzzle and the impalas can then start feeding on that as well. So when it comes to wildebeest in South Africa, they tend to actually have fixed territories that are all year round. However, a few years ago, it wasn't the case, and they actually did migrate within Southern Africa as well. But because of the erection of fence lines, as well as man-made waterholes, they actually became sedentary. And they seldom wander more than 25 kilometers from the area where they are born. However, we find that the males, they do set up territories. We also get another herd structure, which is an all-male group, which is the bachelors, and then breeding herds. And quite often when it does come to the time of year where those females are in estrus, we'll find that these wildebeest bulls try and herd those females into those territories and keep them. We should, in the next few weeks, actually start seeing quite a few young wildebeest in the area. It's one of my favorite animals to actually watch. What I do find particularly fascinating about young wildebeest is that they can stand within 5 minutes, and that they can also start following the group very soon. And the reason why they're born in such an advanced state where they can follow is because they have to follow during migrations. Unlike species such as bushbuck, which has got an incredibly long lying out period, where sometimes between 3 and 3.5 months, but the lamb might actually have to lie out. And they're born in after a very quick gestation period, and they also have to be nurtured every day by the female returning to them, cleaning them, and allowing them to suckle, and the female then. In that case, we also find with species like bushbuck that the female will eat the feces to prevent that predators can actually smell them. A lot of those young animals are also born scentless, specifically for that reason. And another interesting behavior, what we do find with wildebeest, is that quite often with a lot of the members of the tribe that they belong, which includes Sesame, hartebeest, those young animals will quite often flee with the adults if they are confronted by a predator, and simply what they'll do is drop flat down, and the predator will then follow the adults as that the young has been missed in the process. And later on, they'll return and come and fetch him again. Good evening, Ron, and welcome to the show. Yes, it's definitely great to see them, and it's absolutely filled our Christmas stockings now. So far, Owen and myself didn't have a lot of luck this afternoon, except for an elephant or two. Maybe we were quite bad this year. We didn't even get a sack of coal. It's just wonderful to watch them and then to see the interaction with these animals. I also just find it fascinating how they all interact at some level with one another, and how they actually evolve, that they can benefit from one another. We're going to hang around here a little bit longer and see what our aggregation of animals are up to. But let's go and see what the rest of the team is doing.
Welcome from JP, of course, with the beautiful different sort of species. And back here at Juma Safari Live, we're still looking around in the area for tracks, of course, that might be we can be able to follow up. Not yet we have seen much. We'll be moving furthermore west and try to check if Tabanguma have crossed back into our conservancy, or if he's still more active. If it was not him that crossed to the north, check around Vuyatela axis few areas where we might able to find him around waterholes. I'd like to share with you again my rhino story, my elephant story, and a rhino in the worst. Very interesting story, but that will come later on. I still have to check the area very well. And I would like to really track and finish this story of Tavangume and Toto Span. I'd love to get more evidence what happened exactly. Even if I cannot find them, reading from the ground, yes, it might tell us what happened in the surrounding.
Alright, so Maroops has definitely decided that it is prime time for a catnap. You can hear there are some birds alarm calling at him. They have seen him moving as they were coming down to the little mud wallow, but he is not bothered at all. And I really feel like in my heart he is waiting for Thandi to come back, or he's waiting to hear some form of commotion. But he looks so comfortable, and because there's no sun, he really doesn't have to move far at all right now. So he might be here for a few hours to come until it gets dark again. Probably also find, like, you know, with him being so comfortable here, if he waits long enough, the impalas that he was even having the standoff with earlier, he could probably sneak up on them if they think he's left the area, or if they've forgotten that he was here. They would still be able to smell him, but if they haven't seen him for a few hours, they'll be on alert, but he will be able to get close. See half of his spot pattern there. He has got a very solid streak, that third row of whisker spots. Very, very solid streak. The birds are all of a sudden going wild here. So you can hear there is another vehicle here with us, appreciating Maroops, and who wouldn't? He is absolutely gorgeous. So he's got some pretty good genes in his system, because if you think about it, Thandi's his mom. She's already 15 years old. His great-grandmother is Safari, and she was the oldest living leopard here. She was 19 years old when she died. 19. That's pretty much unheard of in the bush. You don't see that every day. You definitely don't. I think the oldest leopard I've seen in the wild is Thandi. And he's got those genes in his system, and with the indications of the dominant males around here of who his father would be, you know, either Molwati or Hukumuri or maybe Tingana, you know, that's some pretty strong genes in one leopard. Very, very big genes, and certainly big genes to fill, but with his behavior, I feel like he's got it covered. And hopefully he gets bigger and better and stronger and even more mesmerizing. Oh wow, that tail. He really is a gorgeous male. His stomach is actually not as full as I expected, considering the meal that he ate with Tundi. And actually that one, from this angle anyway, one spot on his cheek there looks like it's a heart-shaped. Renee, yes, leopards do come into our camp. Our camp is fenced for elephants, but everything else can and will come through the camp. In fact, Tlalamba was around the camp. Was it last week? I think it was the week we arrived. She was around the camp in the drainage line. But yes, they can come through. That being said, it's not like they're there every night. It's not like we're dodging death when we walk between buildings. It's very, very relaxed, and we are careful. But no, they're not in camp every night, but they certainly can come through camp. What we do have in camp every night is hyenas and scrub hares, a lot of scrub hares, and monkeys, very naughty monkeys.
We had baboons yesterday.
Oh, and we had baboons yesterday. For the first time since I've been here, there were baboons in camp yesterday. That same cheeky troop that's always up on quarantine. They were raiding our camp yesterday, or trying their best anyway. They didn't get very far. Oh, he is awake. Look at the tail. Just a little tip moving to show that he is listening. You probably find he's also getting a bit frustrated from the flies, and so he's just moving the tip of his tail. He's not quite gotten to the point yet where he wants to use his tail or his paws to slap the flies off of his face, but he's definitely considering it. He's going to get a little bit of mud stuck on his tail there where he is, because you can see the soil is nice and wet on the edge of this little mud wallow. A little flick every now and then. So one thing that I actually did notice about him when we first got here and he laid down like this, one of his paws is a little bit different to the others. So a leopard's paw pads underneath are one of my favorite things about them. They're very soft, they're very padded, and beautiful shape compared to all the other tracks. A leopard track to me is the most beautiful because of the shape of the paw. It's very rounded and more intact than a lion's, tighter than a lion's. But his one paw pad underneath, the one toe, is actually pink. The others are all black. And you can see there on the one paw pad, he's got a little streak of pink. It's so cute. Still a little bit of cub in him somewhere. And you can tell. That streak actually continues. If you have a look at his palm pad, you can see it actually goes down to the heel there on the top edge as well. Just something unusual that I noticed that I will now never get out of my mind is Marib's little pink streak on his back right leg. So much power in those soft and squishy paws. I have been very impressed by how big his paws are and how big he's gotten. I think if he does stay in the territory, he has a pretty decent chance with his size and with Tandi's experience, the way she's brought him up. He's got a pretty decent chance of becoming a dominant male here in the future. That being said, though, you might find, with the normal way leopard populations and dynamics go, males often leave the territory because their father is still around, where females are very different. Tandi, with Kuchava, for example, actually gave up the main part of her territory for Kuchava, and she moved further east. And it doesn't happen like that with males. Males usually have to leave, otherwise the dominant male will start chasing them. So he will probably have to find a territory of his own. He is so comfortable here, though, that I feel like he would stick around for quite a while longer. Alright, so he does look very, very relaxed. I'm going to stick with him for a little while longer to see if he does start moving. Hopefully he might get up and even drink in the little mud wallow. But while I stay with him, I will send you from Spots over to Stripes. I'm getting them confused. Let's head over to JP with his zebras.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. In the Eco Training Pridelands camp, we also have a number of different animals that do come through the camp. And we have anything from elephants passing through there, hyenas, leopard, lion, and even buffalo. And there's quite a few times that we've actually had to chase them out of camp at night. So last night we were actually enjoying our Christmas dinner between myself and Owen, and we actually were watching some elephants actually having a swim. But when it comes to the hyenas, they're the problem makers around here. So quite often when we have instructors as well as training guides that forget to leave their backpacks locked up or put them away, they do get taken by hyenas. And one of our instructor friends, he actually lost a backpack with quite a lot of expensive gear inside there, which included binoculars as well as a camera that got dragged off. We still haven't managed to be able to find it. Coming back to our zebras that we're watching over here, the species of zebra that we see is known as a plain zebra, and it's actually a subspecies of a zebra that we have in East Africa. So technically it's a species that has become isolated, and the two different subspecies have started to form different patterns, and over a period of time they might actually evolve into their very own species. But if they could meet up, they could interbreed and they could produce fertile offspring. One of the key features how we can separate plain zebras from the virtual zebra, which we find in East Africa, is that pale black line what we find on the white itself. So when we were looking at the group earlier on, we actually made the assumption that it's two different harems that are actually associated in this area, and one of the harems have already moved off. The way that we determined that was actually looking at the size of the stallions being slightly larger than the females, and we also looked at the buttocks. And if you do look at the buttocks of the zebra, you'll actually notice that there's a thin black line on the male's buttocks and quite a big broad black line between the buttocks for a female. And sometimes you will also notice that the males will also hang penises out just like elephants, and they sometimes do that to actually cool themselves down by exposing it to sun or to shade to increase or decrease their body temperature. So some of the other social structures which we do get with zebra is also bachelor herds, which is all male groups. We also find that in the case of the zebras, they actually form permanent harems, unlike the impalas, which only will form temporary harem associations within the rutting season. So impalas have actually just disappeared in the last few seconds out of our view. Let's see what our zebras are getting up to. We also mentioned a little bit earlier that they actually have cutting teeth on the upper and the lower jaws, and that enables them to eat much coarser grasses. And that's also one of the reasons why they're always bloated and they're always passing a lot of gas. And we also find that they're always generally in a good condition. And it's very seldom that I've actually noticed, even that after winter conditions, that the zebras in this area has actually lost their condition. And the way that we can assess their body condition is by simply looking at their manes. When their body condition deteriorates, the manes will actually start flopping downwards. And that you can use as the same technique to assess domesticated horses in terms of well-being. Good afternoon, White Mane, and welcome to the show. And yes, Pridelands has the ability to always keep us going. That's absolutely a fascinating piece of the reserve, and there's such a great variety and diversity of birds as well as animals that we can find over here. That's a problem. Now my foot has now actually been sleeping, so I'm going to have to let it go for a little bit, and it's a little bit difficult to actually depress the clutch at the moment. Let's watch our zebras and see what they get up to.
Welcome back. We are live here. We are on Gari Pepes to Kwanda. We have fine tracks. Look like Tavangume headed east. But we're checking where we need to see the tracks where he might cross to the north. Fairly, very close where we are. We are trying to take with a slow pace. Tracks is coming to the east towards the Pepes sign. Definitely Tavangume was in the area where we had the lambing of impalas and guinea fowls in the morning. So we just located tracks, slowly heading into the area. While we are still checking these tracks, really I want to share you a beautiful story. I was asked about buffalo intervention with the elephant and the other story as concerned out in nature. It do happen around drought season. No, it's not him. Welcome. Foxtrot drunkers are not happy. We'll work the area. I'd love to share you quickly the story of Africana and the rhinoceros. During the drought season in 1990, in the conservancy where I used to work down south, all the river was dry. There was no water around water holes. So elephant, they used to duck water in the middle of the riverbed called Science River. And all the animals from the Western Conservancy, they used to go in that particular area because elephants were very active in finding water in that particular area. One day, a runner decided to head down into the river. It's in the nature of a rhino. We know that rhino is one of the species is similar with the elephant. Their body they get overheated very easily from the heat and decided to go and drink and wallow. One bull in mass, and at the same time heading down to the river. When get there, the rhino was wallowing and the bull wanted to push the rhino. The bull sparked the fight in between the two. They fight for at least a day. From the morning until in the morning, we all went there. It was a really serious fight between the rhino and the elephant bull. It was a really serious fight. You would never really happy if you get to see. Most of the trees were destroyed because they were pushing one another. And the rhino able to poke an elephant between the chest, and the elephant trying to push elephant through the head, also from the side, and using trunk to smash a rhino. We left the sighting. Early in the morning when we come back in the area, rhino was dead and the elephant was dead. 100 meters away from the rhino, elephant was building from the chest and died, and the rhino died from the spot. So between these two animals fighting, as a result. You never know who's going to win. If it's a young elephant and a big dominant bull, it's a real risk for an elephant to lose. So elephant can lose at any time. I've seen that happening way back 1990s, which is really awesome to have this in record, that run and the elephant, sometimes they can fight. I've seen it here before, but not the really serious fight, where the runner gets into the water and the elephant chases the runner and runner turn back and try to fight back, but they cannot really fight like I witnessed before. In last year, what I've seen, like 2 minutes is enough and move off completely from one another. So I've seen that. I'm talking about nearly 30 years back of the information that I have. So it do happen sometimes in other areas, not in particular here and other. It can happen. North can happen, West can happen, East Africa, but it's very rare to come across with it. As we are looking for the Tavangoma female, I think Tavangoma must be lying down somewhere here, because tracks doesn't come out from the other side, unless if he came here and head back in the area. It's very grassy from the road, we can't tell. So we are trying to check from one tree to another, more especially these big trees where it's tall grasses. It might happen lying down flat, not giving us any chance to see him. If he wants to be seen, he will get up and look at the direction of where we might be. But I believe he might be still in between the fire break. We have Chuck area very well. No joy. Let's carry on and try to find this lovely boy.
I am now bumbling along. I'm on the eastern boundary and I'm looking for anything that the wind blows in our direction. We left my ribs nice and sleepy. And so now we are just enjoying a bit of the greenery, a bit of the view, looking for anything small that might come along. We are quite lucky. It is now getting to that time of the evening where there's a bit of a light change starting to happen. So it's just starting to get dark, but it's still light enough that some of the animals are active. The birds are starting with their dusk chorus, and everything is in that kind of, it almost like it happens in slow motion. Everything starts reversing a little bit. And it's always one of the prettiest times of the day to be out, because this is the time where you literally never know what you will find, because the animals are all changing roles, and so nocturnals and diurnals are awake, crepuscular is awake, birds are still awake, but yet bats are already starting to get active. It's always a very productive time. She started noticing a few marilla fruits that have been dropping down. They're still green, the ones that have dropped. But soon we will be seeing nice ripe orange marilla fruits. I'm sure the elephants will be loving it. So I think with my ribs being where he is, this road has been driven quite a lot today. So I don't see any fresh tracks on top of it, only tracks underneath the vehicle tracks. So I think we should play a game again, a Christmas game. And I think we should try and guess what the next animal we're going to see is. I'm going wherever the wind blows me. I'm going to take whatever comes into my path. I'm driving up the eastern boundary, so it's called Cheetah Cut Line. And I think we should take guesses on what the next animal will be. Other than impalas, because impalas are usually around every corner. So I feel like that's a little bit of a cheat. So if anyone wants to guess, please do let us know what you think we're going to see next. What do you think, Darren? Darren needs a minute to think. Okay, I think we are going to see... Oh, a hyena. I think we're going to see a hyena. Maybe June, but I think a hyena. Because it is getting to that time where the nocturnals are getting active and it's overcast. So they might be more active earlier on. We left my ribs, by the way. He was still very, very sleepy. So we decided we'd bumble along and see what the wind blows in our direction. We've had such a productive day. Anything that comes along is absolutely welcome at any time. So we figured we'd get some fresh air in our faces and drive along. You think a duiker? Darren thinks we're going to see a duiker next. That's a pretty good guess, actually. We are on the fire break, so it is a nice short grass area, nice and open, perfect for steenbok and duiker. A little bit further on, there's a bit of thicket going down to the drainage line, so good for kudu and nyala. It's a brilliant area for leopards and hyenas in general, and elephants. So I feel like there's a lot of different things we could see. And we're only counting actual sightings, we're not counting tracks. If we were counting tracks, I would have won already. There are lots of hyena tracks. BT, you're hoping for wild dogs. I like your thinking. I second that. I think that's a good idea. It would be an absolute Christmas miracle if we saw wild dogs next. I feel like that would not only make the day, but make the year in terms of sightings in a day. I like the sound of wild dogs. That's a good guess. I mean, they are getting active now, so it's actually not unlikely. And in this area, because they move so far, so quickly, it's possible. Horse lover, you think a genet or a mongoose? Oof, okay. Those are very, very good guesses. Lots of dwarf mongoose burrows in this area, lots of colonies. And genets, I mean, we're surrounded by tall marula trees, so they might be coming out nice and early. Those are very good guesses. I think in my heart I'm hoping for wild dogs, but I'm guessing hyena is the next animal. Oh, oak tree, you think a nyala? Okay. Okay. That's a good guess. We're in a nice thick area, lots of greenery. It could definitely work. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Oh. All I'm seeing so far are birds and grass and marula trees and the occasional marula fruit. Who is going to win? Maybe none of us will win. Eli, you're hoping for a Christmas chameleon. I like that. Oh, I'll have to find one for you now. Just don't tell Rex. Don't tell Rex when we found a chameleon. He doesn't like that. Oh, goodness. I feel like some of us should have guessed birds because that's all we're seeing now. Linda Polly, you agree with me on a choice of hyena. Oh, maybe we'll be lucky. I know we have been seeing a lot of June recently, and a lot of river recently, and we are in the east of the reserve, so it is definitely possible. Oh. So in this area, we should be seeing things like impalas, steenbok, duiker, nyala, elephant, wild dog, hyena, lion, leopard, cheetah, even if we're adventurous. So all of the possibilities are here, even the chameleon, even the genets and the mongooses. Mongoose. No, it's actually mongooses, so don't say mongoose. Oh, I'm starting to feel that little bit of pressure building now, because now there's so many guesses and there's still no animals. I don't think they know about the deal we have. Max, you think a lion pride? That would be a fantastic opportunity for us to catch up with some lions. We certainly have been missing them the last few weeks. I was very happy to catch up with Blondie, Mohawk, and those 3 lionesses with their very, very cute little cubs. We did actually hear lions calling last night. Maybe you've got a premonition going there, Max. Oh, now we're heading into slightly thicker territory, so now nyala, kudu, elephants still, duiker, steenbok still, all the predators would be here. Maybe except cheetah. I wouldn't think cheetah. Oh, this pressure is mounting, everybody. Where are the animals? Erin, a lilac-breasted roller. Oh, that adds to the pressure. All the birds are starting to go to sleep. Okay. All right. Well, that's actually probably one of the most likely guesses of everyone's, purely because at this stage, that is the most common thing of that entire list. So it's a pretty good guess, Erin. We will see. So I'm actually just skirting the drainage line at the moment that heads straight back down into the central part of the reserve. So this is really anybody's territory now. Any one of us could win this. It's a beautiful thick area, actually. Lots of silver cluster leaf and bush willow. We're in a seep line. Seep lines are very good for elephants and birds. So maybe Erin is still the closest, actually. Oh, come on, animals. I think if I spotted a chameleon in daylight, I might have to retire from the fright of spotting it while it's camouflaged, especially since I wear glasses. That would be the day. They're here, we just can't see them very well. Oh. So there are some Franklins on the road, but they're killers. Kirsten is spider or a snake? I like the way you think. Snakes are definitely slightly different thinkers to the rest of us that are all about mammals. Ooh, Rusty has a mind of his own today. Imagine if we came around the corner and there was a massive African rock python in the road. Oh my word. I have not seen a rock python for quite a while. Oh, you know what? Nobody guessed. A tree squirrel. No one guessed a squirrel. I haven't seen any yet, but that's a very, very good guess. Wow. I should have gone for that. Oh, I can smell some very fresh urine. I don't know from what, but I can smell it. I wonder if the animal is still around that left the urine behind. So francolins and spurfowls are like impalas. They don't count. They do. They're amazing. But we see them all the time. So we're talking unusual animals. I wonder if a branch in the road counts. I don't think so. So pretty much every guess so far is actually very viable. Very, very viable. There wasn't a single one that was... It kind of made me go, this is not possible. So that's very good. That's very good. It means we know the habitat, we know the behaviors, we know the animals, and we know our favorites. That usually tends to be the first guess for everyone, is one of their favorites. Okay, so while I am still looking, the first animal I found I will show to you, other than the above mentioned list of things that we're not counting. And let's head over to Rexon. Maybe he will beat me to some of those animals on that list.
Welcome back here. We are live trying to check areas where possible the tracks might be headed in the area. You never know for Tabangume. But yeah, I've been looking for tracks now. Rely on my unicorn hat, the Christmas unicorn hat. As I wiggle my head, maybe it will never get the direction of the leopard. Then I might go directly where's there. I'm watching also how it works. It tells me to the left. I have to go to the left all the time. You never know. I'm not sure seriously what I'm going to see first, but possible it might be a leopard is what I wish to see. And not just as is trying hard outside after my ribs. Of course, we must see something beautiful. Now I'm just hopping from one tematman to the next. I'm checking for the beautiful, handsome boy. Tabangume. Tabangume, it means mountain bucky. Mountain buck, not bucky, buck. Yes, of course. Mountain buck. Tabangume. It's a cliff springer. In Shangaan or other languages, Zulu, they call it Tabangume. So we call it, really Shangaan is too complicated. It's not in Tangu, but it's Ngume. 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 Which is that cleft springer. So more or less the tracks of this boy is somewhere. We have drive away from the area, and we just want him to be more confident with the presence of us. Maybe he might come out from the bushes, start to walk on the road. This is the only area that I believe I might see him. If he's not here, I'll head more to the south, checking if total spread is still around in the area. If these two leopards, they might be in the area. I've been working in the area at least nearly 45 minutes. If two animals challenge one another or fight, in short, the amount of sound that comes out, growling and all that, is very, very high. We might by now able to hear where exactly these cats are, but look like there's no fight here. It's very silent. We'll try to work the area relying on the information of the tracks, but more the impala that might be going now into open space because the light is fainting. Dark man lover, what do a leopard power?
Leopard smell.
Oh, lovely question. They smell very good, unless if you're not used to the smell of the bush. You know, they smell like all animals in general. Like I know that if you look at if you want to find a leopard in the area, if there's the urinated, it smells like a popcorn smell, the scent itself. Remember, because the animal, as far as like leopard, they always kill other species, they always eat blood of other species. Sometimes they eat rotten meat. So that's, if they carry the smell that time, they smell very bad. But of course, you cannot smell it if they're close by. They can groom themselves and able to. Guys, I don't know. I would let Mpo to film this. You can. The tracks of a leopard. It really frustrates me because I can see this leopard has been here this afternoon. It's going direct here. I've checked, it's very fresh tracks, no dust on top of it, very steaming. But where's the leopard? It tells me that again I have to try the area, but I can't see the general direction of him. He comes from the direction. You can see this leopard has been here this afternoon. It's going direct here. Check, is very fresh tracks, no dust on top of it, very steaming. But where's the leopard? It tells me that again I have to try the area, but I can't see the general direction of him. He comes from the direction where we're going. We might extend it furthermore to the east. We might be walking along the fire break headed far east. I can't tell, but it tells me that this tracks is very fresh. There's no way that the way we have worked the area, we're supposed to see him, or otherwise he might be lying down flat in the surrounding, try to avoid us. If I read tracks of a leopard, it means that leopard is more. Tracks is great. It's not far from you. We might drive past him lying down somewhere. And we take a very careful look. Completely flat against the log or trees like this. No luck. I can hear the fox-tailed drongo busy with the, it look like
So I'm actually looking for a little spot to stop and have a listen, because we are very, very close to two drainage lines and they actually meet further down. So I want to just sit and listen in case there are any sounds of animals around us. It might even point us in the direction of a winner of the little game we're playing. I want to sit here and just have a listen, because this is right in between where two drainage lines converge. Can hear some cuckoos. So what I'm listening for is breaking of branches, any contact calling from any of the predators, trumpeting, alarm calls from squirrels and birds, or even just hyenas whooping. Maybe we'll get lucky and hear a lion roaring. Grey go-away birds. Seems like mostly dusk chorus that we're hearing. Yeah, it definitely sounds like majority insects and just a few birds advertising where they are for the night. Yeah, I definitely don't hear anything alarming. I was hoping we would hear something like branches breaking for elephants or a hyena whooping. But the night is still young, lots of time left.
I don't know, it's like over here it's waiting for the leopard. The Tessa, which is still looking around, we just track the leopard and we can find hyena lying down. The way the hyena has positioned itself, it looks like it might be waiting for something. Excuse me, and I believe it might be spotted the same leopard that we're trying to track here, because the tracks, of course, is very confusing. Hyena at the moment is just lie down and listen what might be the leopard up to, or leopard trying to hunt and kill something. He will be immediately responding. It's in the nature of hyena. Sometimes if a hyena keep a distance or short distance of the leopard is going to lie down not to hunt. So hyena try to reserve and be at long distances behind, just using the sense of hearing. If a leopard do make a kill, he will respond immediately on that surrounding, and they might steal the kill away. It depends on the environment where the leopard might be. If he's in the area where there's no trees, or he kills something big that is still struggling, he will join on the kill. I've seen where hyena sometimes immediately responded on the kill of a leopard, and the leopard dropped the kill because of the surprise of the hyena, and the hyena found that the impala get away and run away because the hyena have responded in the early stage. So but it's a very experienced hyena. It's not a junior, or it's not a sub-adult. It's one of these hyena that is really experienced when it comes to interfering with leopards and lion. He'll be more patient before even act. Will be so much patient waiting here to see this hyena where he might head it from this direction, or he might spot or might show us a leopard. If we get up and move, you might find that the leopard is not lying far from the spot where we are. He might end it head on the direction of the leopard, or lie down the rest of the afternoon. He's looking towards our direction as if he can comet. Oh, lovely. We have people on board that can really know all the different names of hyena. I salute for all people who started naming all cats and able to, the hyena and able to identify them. For me, it's one of the most species to very difficult to identify. But yes, I've seen quite a lot that the identification of hyena is 100% right. There's Sutu, there's Swazi, there's Ndebele, there's Comment, they're all that is such amazing. And for me, because I've sometimes taken picture for individual hyena that if I get a name, if I come across with it again, I find that it matches exactly with the name that the previous, get it to me. So I salute for that. It's such amazing, and I would like to congratulate the program of Safari Life, because really without Safari Life, would not able to identify all these hyena, to the degree of the way we are at the moment. The program is such amazing. He's getting active. You can see he starts to yawn and try to groom itself. That is in the nature of hyena. Hyena is like a cat. They all have a thin layer of the bone called transposterior membrane that from the head all the way down to the back, up to the tail, and the layer gets up to the vocal box, front leg and the back leg. For each and every species, before it moves, it has to exercise the transposterior membrane, get activated, tell the mind and the vocal box that it's now time to move. You see, yawning, stressing, that is very common. Is now the body of the species itself and the blood is flowed to get active. They can move, they can vocalize, they can do anything. But standing from the ground and try to vocalize, it might be not the best vocalization, because you have to exercise the transposterior membrane that these species have. Otherwise, really, it will be so lazy. He's up in the move. Let's try. We might lose this hyena because in the area where we are, as we go further low down, we don't have signal the most. But we go parallel, we'll stay here and go a little bit more. Mainly signal. Focus on this hyena movement. You might take the hyena. When it comes to tracking leopards, they are so good. With the hyena is the leopard.
So it seems we also have a hyena. And I'm very, very happy that I guessed correctly. In fact, we guessed correctly because it wasn't just me. And I'm not sure which hyena this is yet. We haven't had a very clear view. Looks like quite a large hyena, and definitely interested in something because it's walking straight at us. It's quite strange with one eye reflecting and the other one not. Just because of the angle. I can't hear anything, so I'm not sure what this hyena is hearing that we're not, or smelling that we're not. We did see a flash of a duiker 2-3 minutes before we saw the hyena. Here's a nice view of the side. Mike, you feel like hyenas are always up to no good? Very possibly. In reality, no, they're actually very, very intelligent and a lot of fun. And they aren't always up to no good, only sometimes. And they certainly keep us entertained regardless. Looks like it's been lying in the mud. Look at that very dark back leg. Goodness gracious. The whole bum, in fact. Had a spa day. Good way to spend Christmas, I suppose. So it's actually moving through the drainage line and sniffing. And it's probably looking for any scent of other hyenas or leopards, anything around here. Maybe even some food. And disappearing fairly quickly. It's actually moving straight in the direction of Ribbon's den site. I'm not sure which hyena that is, so if anybody does know, I'd really appreciate the help with identification. It did have two very distinct stripes down the side, and I feel like in the back of my mind I recognize that pattern, but I can't for the life of me put my finger on it. Okay, so there's a bit of a mix-up. This hyena is Comet. Alright, so now I can finally say that I've met Comet in person. That's exciting. Nice to meet you, Comet. Merry Christmas. Okay. Okay, it makes sense because when I saw the streaks on the side, I thought that looks an awful lot like a comet. But I thought maybe I was incorrect. Where are we going, Comet? What's the adventure tonight? What is the adventure? We're actually very close to a little pan called Chela Pan. And this is in fact the area where we have found Tundi twice and Tlalamba once in the last week alone. This exact clearing where this beautiful comet is walking off. On an early evening stroll, it seems. So hyenas are really, really intelligent. They've actually got one of the largest brains compared to the rest of the body size. So the ratio is a lot higher in them than in the other predators. And a lot bigger than a lot of the other mammals too. In fact, I think the only competitors, and I might be wrong, but the only competitors are dolphins and elephants with brain size to body ratio. Where are we going, Comet? Comet is taking us on an adventure. Ah, there we go, coming back into the road. Definitely smelling something. So you can see the way Comet is doing loops at the moment. It's nose to the ground, kind of sniffing around in circles, and I'm wondering... Oh, now rolling in the grass very subtly. I'm wondering if it can smell something we can't. Maybe another hyena moved through here earlier. Maybe a leopard. You can just see a little bit of movement in the grass. So definitely still, there we go, rolling around and about to come back out. There we go. Yeah, definitely had a very nice mud bath and definitely looking nice and full. It actually makes the tail look quite strange when it's all covered in mud. Alright, I'm going to follow Comet for a little bit, see where we end up going. We're on an adventure, everybody. And we will see what happens from here.
What area where? Welcome back. We left on the area where we had the hyena. Very interested. I was trying to remember the name of the hyena, the second name, not Comet, the other name, but it really disappear a lot in my head because sometimes it's a new name. I haven't really exposed much to all these hyena names. I want to start to know them physical, and it will be good for me. We are on Vietnam axis, that area where we hope hyena will drive us into the leopard's face. We cannot broadcast. We have left the area. We're trying to check Triple M to the corner of Gary Main. Maybe we might have joy. Quite a lot of hyena activity at this time, and I believe that's the reason you find that leopard tend to be less active again, more at night, just because hyena they operate at night, and sometimes they operate in a very clever way. You might get to see hyena here, one hyena here. Know that they've covered the area in their network and they can communicate. So if they get to come across with anything that they need to steal away from any cats around in the area, they communicate immediately, affect all the other members that are close by, they will respond. And also those who are in the area or might be passed on the message, but those who are hearing the message what's going on. A minute there's a giggling and laughing, and the other hyenas will just pass on to the next. Is how actually they gang out the lions and the hyenas let's in the kill.
We are still on an adventure over here with Comet and actually approaching a crossroads. I don't know if anyone's approaching a crossroads in their lives, but I know it happens often. And it seems like Comet is approaching such a crossroad. If Comet goes left, possibly going to Ribbon's den site. If right, possibly towards the old den sites and Treehouse Dam. Which way will Comet go? Listening very carefully to make this decision. Or possibly going to Treehouse Dam. It's the old den sites. Oh, goodness. So it is going to be interesting to see where this hyena is actually going, because there have been some movements recently at a time that I'm much more familiar with. And so it's quite exciting for me to meet a new hyena, just a new hyena on my list. Definitely towards Treehouse Dam. We have arrived at the crossroads. The old den site, it seems. Back old den site. I'm hoping my signal sticks with me. So Comet's actually taken a bit of a shortcut, and I just want to make sure I'm not driving into anything. Comet took a shortcut across the road and is now turned off the road and go towards the torrential. It is so thick that all of a sardini Comet is gone all of a sudden. Okay, so Comet is on an adventure to the... Wow, look at the dust and the insects. Comet has gone into the drainage line. Definitely smelled something that we can't. Give us an idea of where here, because interactions if they do meet up. But also if you hear any other sounds, it could be something like a leopard that Comet is following. All I'm hearing are dung beetles and a few insects.
Sorry, welcome back from Tesla Live. We are now triple arm looking for opportunity in the area. Maybe we might be lucky seeing turtle span. I believe last area for him to come, it was direct in this surrounding. We might cross by now, of course, because we went here late in the morning. His truck was still patrolling the area, so by this time it's too late for him. He might be already crossed into the west. I was really keen to see him around in the area and also bringing life to you. It will be my first leopard or first sighting of turtle span, of course, and I'm really keen if he comes around in the area. I'll spend more time checking this particular individual. It was very confusing this morning, because we know that Tamangume was in the area, and we try our best to check and find the tracks crossover, and it was not him. It might be turtle span that went to Sydney's Dam and come back almost same area. We are Triple M, nobody's road. As you can see, there will be more vehicles pass by in the area. We'll try as much as we can. You can see there's a sighting where they're coming from. Might be the turtle span sighting, might be Shidulu, because it's two leopards. They're active quite a lot here. It might be Kara. I've seen Kara and Shidulu in the same spot, and Shidulu was really trying to push Kara away. She was so much aggressive towards Kara, and eventually she wanted Kara to move to the north. It's where I've learned a lot that if a mother leopard and the offspring, it will be so difficult for us to understand, but for them they're so difficult to keep all the leopards all together. They wanted that Kara to move off. The reason behind that, it tend to be too much leopard competing in the same area for the same food, so they have to spread out. They're not really fighting just because they need space, also compete about food. That's also nature balance, that they have to spread out far from one another as the solitary species. I would like to find out more from the guys from the west, what might be from their side, why they were in this road, and how does the movement of how they find the movement of Shidulu in their property if they do follow up. If not, I managed to talk to them that Shidulu look like having cubs, but it's not far from the Juma Conservancy to the west. I just hope that she might be one of these drainage line here where I'm driving, and coming here it might help us a lot. Last year she have lost the youngster, not just the second drainage line, but 200 meters away from here, from the hyenas. And it's in the nature of a leopard, of course, that hyena might kill the cubs, and also leopard kill the hyena cubs easy on that way. That also help one another when it comes to nature balance. But I wish the leopard to kill more hyenas cubs in the area, because hyena are a lot more populated. They're everywhere around the surrounding. You find tracks of hyena each and every corner of the property. Once before, I've calculated more than 100 to 300 hyena down in the north on the elephant kill. So there's a lot of hyena in the surrounding, and that interfere lots with the leopards. That worries me a lot. The only species that really interfere most is the leopard. They can kill leopard cubs easily. Where we need to see more leopards in the area, relaxed leopards in the area than hyenas. Hyena, the reason why they're so much successful, when they den, they use termite mound all the time, and they conquer the area where there might be the den is. In a clan, there can be 20, 40, 50, 100 easy. They go out at night. In the morning when they come, they lie very close to the termite mound in a drainage line, and really let the guardian stay as a security in a den. If a lion comes there, the guardian will signal with the high-pitched calling. The members of the clan, they're all gonna get out in a thicket and force themselves to go and fight. They come in numbers, and they can drive anything that might be in a den. If it's a pride of lions, they will drive them. If it's a hyena, they fight the hyena off easily. And the youngster, they will always stay in the burrows by that time. Any sign or form of danger, they stay inside. Where the leopard is similar, but you find that the leopard cubs, they come out of the den. It's not always that the den in the burrow of the warthog. They might be in a thicket. They start to play around there. Is where they become more vulnerable. If a hyena get to see them, they will chase them, and they won't have time to go up in a tree. They will easily attack them and kill them. I've pulled out myself from Triple M. A lot of vehicle look like it's a sighting going more south of Triple M itself.
So I have left the drainage line and I am bumbling along, looking for anything that might show up, secretly hoping, secretly hoping for a genet actually. I guess the secret's out now, so maybe not secretly hoping. So as I'm going, I'm just scanning in the road, down through the brush, and then up into the trees, looking for any reflection of eyes, like we saw earlier with Comet. So we are going through a few little drainage lines, through some open areas as well. And these are really good areas to find nocturnal animals, because they'll either be moving through the drainage line or they'll be going to have a look what might be in the open areas in terms of food. What I'm looking for here in particular is the ghostly form of Moluwati. This is the first place I met him and the only time I've seen him. Wishful thinking, but you never know, Christmas miracles. interestingly enough, I actually haven't seen any scrub hares tonight. That's quite unusual. Normally we see quite a few of those, especially in these open areas. Maybe they're just saving it for a little last minute scrub hare just now. Okay, back to my search on the Bumble. So I actually, I was thinking about the elephant sighting earlier when we were at the dam and the elephants were swimming. And I did actually go and have a look up again and just make sure. And it doesn't seem, I had a question about how long elephants can hold their breath for. It doesn't seem like there is any confirmed evidence of how long it actually is. But I'm sure it's just a few minutes, not quite as long as a hippo. Normally you only see them under the water for a few seconds at a time because they just pop their trunk out to breathe. And the other one was, what are the requirements of a big tusker? What does it take to be a tusker? Because there's hardly any of them left in the world. And the correct weight for each tusk has to be more than 90 to 100 pounds. So 41 kilograms plus per tusk. That is a lot of weight. That is a very big tusk. So that is what it takes to be a tusker. And definitely interesting because it helps you, well, it helps me anyway, dust off my skills. But it also makes me think about things I haven't thought about before, like how long do elephants hold their breath for? They've got such big lungs, but how on earth do you measure that? How would I go about measuring that as a scientist? Because that's what I studied, I'm a scientist. How on earth would I go about measuring how long an elephant can hold its breath for? Because it's not like you could just take an elephant, ask it to hold its breath for as long as possible, and then do it with the rest of the herd and average it out. How would you determine that in the wild? It's almost impossible. Almost impossible. But it's an interesting concept to think about. So I've actually just arrived up on quarantine. I'm in the big open areas right at the top. And I don't see... That is a loud voice on the radio. I don't see even a single straight. Minky, what is my favorite sound? Overall, that is a very, very tough one. Probably my favorite sound... I don't know, I'd have to categorize it. This is the problem. I enjoy so many things that it's hard for me to choose one. Oh, there's an impala lying down. Probably, okay, if I'm thinking smaller things, cicadas. I love the sound of cicadas. If I'm thinking animals in general, then I would say a wild dog hooting is amazing. Also, I feel like lions roaring, if they're very, very close to the car, can absolutely change your world. Because it feels like your whole body is shaking while the lion is roaring. But probably overall a wild dog hooting. But it's very, very tough to choose because there are so many different sounds, and sometimes you hear a new one. It's just, amazing. But I think constant sound would be probably cicadas. And cicadas are those small insects that make that constant high-pitched hum in the summer months in the bush. That for me, when I hear cicadas, I know I'm in the bush. It's ironic because you actually do find them in America and some of the other places. But to me, it's the sound of the bush. But I'm one of those people where I'd have to categorize everything just to try and figure out which ones we want and which ones, what are the favorites, where there's actually a little steenbok that I've just spotted over here. Oh, that's my hat, folks, in case you didn't see it earlier. In infrared, it's even more fantastic. It is a little steenbok. It's a young male, it looks like. can just see the horns. So you can hear it is almost dead quiet out here, just the hum of insects, one of them being cicadas. It's a constant, whether it's day or night. If it's hot, there are cicadas humming. And this is actually to the steenbok's advantage. Benji, the steenbok, is very calm, and I think it's a combination of things. It's nice and warm out, but it's very, very calm up here. It's very peaceful, very quiet. There's not much noise, not many animals around. And because there is no wind, the steenbok is very, very relaxed because a predator will not be able to sneak up on it very easily. A lot of the time we don't get to spend much time with steenbok because they are so fast with any movement that they move off. But at night we do actually have a slight advantage. And that's because it's dark, they feel a bit more comfortable. It's strange, isn't it? Because you think they'd feel more comfortable during the day. But this little guy is actually territorial, so he's probably lived up on quarantine for most of his life. And so he's also probably a little bit more used to vehicles. Oh, that's such a tiny little tongue. Beautiful big ears. You can actually see slight pattern in his ears, and this is actually where the blood flow normally is. Little patches of skin that have less hair. Definitely heard something. Possibly hearing the impalas moving. Sniffing the air quickly, scanning with those ears. Yep, nice and relaxed. Back to grooming and back to feeding. So steenbok is probably one of my favorite herbivores of all time. Probably sounds quite strange, but it's a combination of things for me. The one is that obviously they are very, very small, very shy, but absolutely beautiful. Large ears, very pointed face, very sleek figure, so quite a beautiful animal to look at. But for me, it's actually more the characteristics, the personalities. They are often on their own, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is that they are actually monogamous. They usually have one partner. And if this is this male's territory, his female must be somewhere close by. But to me, I relate to them quite a lot because they're a bit of an adventurer. They're independent, but also attached. So this little guy will have a territory with his partner. They will defend it. They will mark it. And they will check on each other at least once a day. They can normally kind of see each other across the distance. Sometimes they won't see each other for a while. They will come back together and check on each other, but they like to be independent of each other as well, so they like their space. So it's quite an unusual animal in terms of habits because most of the other animals are not like that at all. Just very, very dainty and unusual. I think what I'm going to do though, I'm going to leave this little one to carry on with his feeding. He certainly looks like he's got a busy night ahead, and hopefully we'll see him again tomorrow.
Welcome back from Tessa with the special animals. Dianbach, live here on Safari Live. We are checking Zoe's road, yet there's no tracks. But the good thing of tomorrow morning, we're gonna start all this road that we ended this evening. If there's any tracks here, it'll be on top of a vehicle. That's how actually you might know that this animal, they've been here almost what time, if you're not sure. But of course you might able to find fresh tracks in the morning that tells that the leopard is like less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 hour, an hour, and you can follow up. But it's very important as you are checking here, you check all the roads where you end for an evening drive and where you've been late afternoon. So you have to go around. If you come across of tracks on those areas, you know that this is the area where you may concentrate to look for leopard or lion or anything that you might be tracking. I love tracking leopards and lions, but more leopard is challenging to find. This is more, you need to apply a full concentration when you track a leopard. If you track a leopard and find leopard, you really get more excited in a daily basis. That makes yourself more happy when you find things. That's the reason always this, if you're a guide, the job is always give you excitement. You're always like in holiday.
Bumbling once again. I left the little Steenbach to carry on with his evening. He's got a lot of chewing and eating to do. He actually gets most of his water straight from the plants that he eats, so he's got to make sure that he's eating pretty consistently. Very unusual little things. So what I'm looking for up here through the trees is actually genets. And we've been seeing some white-tailed mongooses around here quite recently as well. So I'm hoping in the open area we might be lucky and see some. Not a very common sight out here. I think altogether though, today has been pretty perfect for a Christmas day. Joey, you are most welcome. Thank you for joining us today for the Christmas extravaganza. I'm glad that you think it was worthy of that terminology. I definitely think it was as well. It was such a beautiful day. I think we just saw so much and it just kept getting better and better. There was no end in sight today. I'm very happy that we got to share all of that with you. I think we could not really have asked for better. Ribbon and her cubs twice in a day. Maribs twice in a day. Tundi. So many elephants. Buffaloes with Rex. The giraffes and the zebras and the elephants with JP. I just feel like it has been one of those days where the universe just... everything relaxed and the universe just came through on its own. Nice relaxed days like today where there's so much out that it really makes you appreciate the kind of life that you have. Oh my goodness. What a lovely, lovely day it has been. seem to have a pick-me that is adamant on staying in the road, and that's okay. I think it says quite a lot about everybody watching at the moment that you are all watching on Christmas Day. So I'm very glad that we got to spend the day with you and share it with you. I hope that it made your day and brought you a little bit closer to nature, and that you had the biggest smile on your face while you were watching today. I know we certainly did. We absolutely loved every second of sharing it with you. I think in terms of how jobs go, I think we're pretty lucky out here on Christmas Day to be sharing that with the world. But thank you again so much for joining us, everybody, and we're really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Hopefully a lot more surprises in store, and I'm sure whatever comes will be absolutely wonderful. Thank you very, very much for spending Christmas Day with us.